we want to tell you about an offer for our listeners with Bernie Kiesel, who's been our CPA and financial planner since 2015.
Yep, he's offering a no-cost meeting to review your current financial situation. You know, things may have changed since COVID and everything. You may need to tighten some things up.
Yeah.
He can help you with retirement plans, old 401ks, insurance, children's education saving plans. You can go to orlandoplanner.net. That's orlandoplanner.net. He can meet with you in person, over a Zoom call, over a phone. He'll do whatever makes you feel safest. Again, it's orlandoplanner.net.
Securities and advisory services offered through Cetera Advisor Network, LLC, member FINRA SIPC, a broker-dealer, and a registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity.
Give Bernie a call, orlandoplanner.net.
This is coming back, isn't it?
What?
Is this beginning or
Welcome
coming back?
to.
No, it's welcome to.
I
You
blew it.
Yeah,
I blew it. And I decided that I was just going to blow it live.
That's fine.
Now, we have the option on this show to re-record that.
No.
But why would we?
No.
Why would we do that?
This is...
Do it live.
Do it
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
We're open.
It's like folding your garbage before you throw it away. Why would you do it?
Why would you do it? That's
Yeah.
really good. That's really good. You got our guest, too. He was like, I've never heard something more poignant. Like, you really, the people love this term, especially when you're trying to, speak down to people. You know what? What you said there really resonated with our next guest.
So, how you doing, Gary?
Doing well. Tom, Dan, Sam, thanks for having me
This
back.
is our buddy Chucklin' Gary. No, I'm kidding. No, this is our buddy we had on about a month ago.
Yes.
And he is an adventureman.
Yes.
And he was the bike packing man.
Yes.
And then that led to us kind of spiraling out of control into the idea that you have done all these different adventures. Now, I will tell you something that I want to put you on tilt just a little bit. Our sales guy, Travis Butler, was talking about how awesome it would be to be as tall as you. Because what are you? You're 6'7", right?
Correct. 6'7".
And the first thing he said was he'd have a big old dong and the whole thing.
Okay, he said two things. He's like, it'd be awesome to be that tall. Big dong, and you stand and see concerts.
Yeah, that is what he said.
And then I was
That's
like...
an exact quote.
Yep.
That is an exact quote, complete with actually a pretty decent impression of Butler.
And then I said, well, what about the airplane seats and the bus seats
Tiny
and all
cars,
the car, and
public transportation,
the bed,
finding clothing, shoes.
It's way more of a hindrance than it is a benefit, I think, unless you're a basketball player or you use it for some sort of sport. But Gary's got to buy like a Mambo
Mega
bike, and then
his bike is 2 times more expensive than my bike.
And I'm sure he can't go and he's got to fly upgraded all the time or sit in the the emergency what is it called?
We're gonna tell you. We're gonna tell you how it is to be tall, Gary.
So
I'm flying to Utah next week for a Ragnar adventure race, and I had to get the exit row seats. It's the only way I can really fit.
Ragnar?
Ragnar.
That's right, Tom.
So you're
Ragnar.
one of them there, Ragnar. Okay.
Oh, no.
I see what we're dealing
It does
with.
sound like a racial
I didn't
slang.
know we was dealing with one of them there. Ragnar.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with saying
there's nothing wrong.
because you don't know what
I just made it sound bad.
Yeah. Anyway, and then flying's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah. I got to be masked up the whole time, but
Oh no, we meant
Next legs.
Well, calm down, Gary. I think we didn't bring your politics into
God,
this.
I make 3 Ragnar jokes, and this guy's ready to storm the Capitol.
Anti-mask. He's like, well, I'm gonna tell you about these masks.
He's like, good. I feel comfortable here. I can let my guard down.
Yeah. All right. So, Gary, I know last time we talked to you, we talked about some adventure. What did we turn it?
We talked about bike packing. You can't
Bike
remember
packing,
what
yeah.
we talked to Gary. Do you remember having Gary on the show?
Yes, I do. But I forgot. It's bike packing, correct?
correct.
And so what's our, and then we got some questions about some stories that you said you had. But first, what are some new adventures you're doing?
So I did go on a bikepacking trip up in Georgia called Fried Clay. It was a 130-mile course. And it was more of a gravel type course. So Dan, once you get that gravel bike up
Yeah.
and running, we can connect on some of the cool gravel courses.
I heard it's really hard though because you're not necessarily, it's not really mountain biking, but I heard that you are definitely having to adjust to the idea that your bike is not going to grip quite as good as you're used to on pavement, right?
It's like running in sand.
I guess.
Right. So depending on the terrain, the surface that you're riding on, it's going to, gravel itself, if it's a pure gravel course, it's a little bit looser than, road or asphalt. But I think it'd be much more enjoyable because you're out there, you're away from cars, you're out in the woods exploring the great outdoors.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And a little bit safer. You might get hit by a turtle or an alligator, but not a wild Orlando driver.
I just
No drivers, maybe a bobcat.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Gary, have you seen The Octopus Teacher?
Why do you gotta?
I have not seen The Octopus Teacher,
Because
but I am a professor, Tom. If you were,
Yeah.
I just put some two and two together. Like, there are these type of humans, right? And it's like this guy and the octopus teacher is like similar to Gary. And a lot of these people that you see that do these types of things are like, they personally challenge themselves to absurdly hard things, right?
Yeah.
And then they become obsessed with doing them, and then they win at them, they accomplish it, and they move on to the next thing, and it's all and it's seemingly not for the money or just to make themselves better and smarter and like to contribute somehow to society or personal goals, like to better themselves, but it's for no money or anything other
Personal
than
achievement.
than just
Yeah.
doing it. And
Chutzpah.
why are you making us all look so bad, Gary?
Oh, okay. Now we're getting to
You
it.
and the octopus guy.
No, the octopus guy's a crazy person.
No, but
you're obsessed with this octopus man. I haven't even seen this.
Yeah, but it's like he's doing these extraordinary things, and like he's got so much discipline that we're all looking at Gary and the octopus man.
I
and
have never looked at Gary and the Octopus Man, sir. Take that back.
Wow.
That sounds like a children's book.
You're like-
Gary and the Octopus
Right.
Man.
And it makes us all feel bad because we're like, I'm not doing nothing. And I'm like,
There is a part of me that felt like that last night when
Yeah.
I was texting you last night, and I sent you a picture of me playing video games. And as soon as I hit send, this is true.
Yeah.
As soon as I hit send, I instantly got, and you know me so well, I got anxiety because I was like, he's going to clown me for doing nothing. I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
I am wasting time. Gotta be working. Gotta be working.
Yeah. It's get living or get living. God damn it. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Is that how it I don't think that's how it goes.
Tom, you can do anything you put your mind to, Tom. So it's just a matter of breaking down into component parts and doing it piece by piece. If you want to run a mile, run 10 miles, run a marathon, you can do it, Tom. Just have to.
Gary, are you
He's
speaking?
gonna be your mentor.
Gary looks like with the different background he has on his Zoom call, with how good his teeth are.
He has beautiful teeth.
You have beautiful. I was going to say, Gary, I literally got. I had no
Blinding
words.
me.
I was looking at your teeth. I had no words for them. I've never that's the feeling I'd like to have when I look in my wife's eyes.
Gary, are you, because the octopus man, I think,
Oh, no.
is there any part
This is
of
where
this?
you show your true mental illness.
No. Well, has anybody ever accused you of being
Being an octopus man.
of being anywhere on the spectrum? Like, do you have a dusting of Asperger's or anything
Yeah.
that causes your brain?
Have you checked your pants for Asperger dust?
like to be like not only more intelligent than the average human, but like
Smarter
able,
than the average bear.
but able to compartmentalize something and then do just be that
Just
good.
get to- are you pro octopus or not?
Is there something? What's different about you, Gary?
That's a great question, Tom. I mean, certainly possible
Is it?
that I lie somewhere on the spectrum. A lot of people do. That's part of who we are, and use that to your advantage.
And Gary's my friend, and if he doesn't want to talk about it, he doesn't have to talk
Yeah,
about it.
how dare
Why don't you
you?
get
That's
the hell out of
personal.
here?
It's a benefit, and I think it's like it makes you better until it makes you way worse. There's a sweet spot.
There is a sweet spot.
And then, and I think people that
Of the
have
obsession
that,
you're talking about,
yeah,
right?
they're just able to compartmentalize and then just set goals for themselves and achieve them systematically and be organized about it and be self-disciplined and do these things for personal benefit only. And it's amazing. Anyway, so Gary, I know we were going to talk about some stories, and Samantha has them listed because I forgot them already. Samantha, let's throw out one of them, and Gary can talk about it.
Let's go with rescuing people from a burning apartment.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds
He's a
good.
hero.
You are a hero, Gary.
So what?
People in the chat want to know if you're single, Gary. Just,
Yeah, the ladies like Gary and his big ding dong. Yeah, that's the benefit of being a tall guy. It's not like if I ever zoom into your podcast, it's not like the ladies line up and they're like, oh, the little ding dong guy's here. Great. Great. The guy who wears, he rides a child's bike.
I'm not. I'm in a relationship with a great woman. She's a frontline worker. She's in the ICU helping people with COVID day to day. Really just an incredible person.
You know what they say, Gary? Hero sharpens hero. Thank you for your service.
Yeah. And then, of course, you're married to another hero.
Right.
Some would say I'm married to a hero.
That's true. I would.
Thank you for your service, Andrea. She is a frontline worker. Frontline of BS.
So, Gary, how did you save someone from a burning building?
The apartment fire. So this is a few years back. I was coming home from work. I worked at a law firm over here on the West Coast. And when I pulled into my apartment, I saw there was a nurse who was taking care of the woman downstairs, like an assisted living nurse who would come. And she was with the woman in her wheelchair, and they were looking off to the side. So, you know, when someone looks and you see someone looking, you also look that way. So I look over to see what they're looking at, and there's like 6-foot-high flames shooting out of the second floor apartment building next to us.
That's cool.
So I immediately just start running towards the fire, start sprinting over. I think I yelled at the nurse to call 911. I sprint over. I run up. There's like outside steps going up to the second floor. I run up to the door of the apartment that's on fire, and I start reaching my hand for the doorknob. Like a split second before I grab it.
Home Alone scenario.
Oh, you're going to burn it. You're about to have a hairy
my mind
hand.
says, oh, you shouldn't touch a doorknob, right? With the fire behind it.
Right.
Melt your hand off like
Yeah.
the guy on Indiana Jones when he grabbed the medallion.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
You know,
reference.
But it's too late. I already grabbed it. And I grab it. Luckily, I don't melt my hand. I turn it. It's locked. I shake it. I bang on the door. Fire, fire, fire. No response. I throw my shoulder against it a couple
You
times.
have a question,
It's not
Tom?
budging.
No. I just wanted to bitch about the old never grab a doorknob because it could be super hot. Like, unless it was red
I've
hot.
never heard that, by the way.
I haven't either.
No one has ever told
Other
me,
than
never
Home
grab a
Alone.
doorknob. It might be really hot.
If there's
I'd
a
be like,
fire,
I mean,
if there's
I'll
a fire on the other
I was
side.
going to say, well, you tell that to me and Sam, we're going to never leave our home.
But I feel like it can only like. If it was red hot poker, like a bolt, like, you know, you put something in like some sort of fire, you forged it or whatever.
Yeah, like you're a blacksmith.
Like that would instantly vaporize the skin on your hand. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right,
it's red
right.
hot. But you would say it would be glowing even in the daytime, and there's no way it could get that hot.
I don't pay attention to the color of my doorknob.
It could only be like a little bit, like touching a frying pan. It would just be like, oh, you know,
I like that.
I say go. Even if there's a fire, just grab the door. If it's a
I like
little bit hot,
Tom grabs a fire doorknob. He instantly becomes a slightly amused David Lee Roth. He's like,
I'm just saying, it's not going to melt your hand off. It'll just be like a pan hot, and it wouldn't burn you that bad. Anyway, sorry, Gary.
I forgot, Tom, you were a firefighter at one time. I forgot
yeah,
that.
he
Let's
knows.
just use it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gary knows.
So, once you got in there,
So,
what'd you do?
Yeah, banging on the door. No one answers. Try to force the door open. It's not budging. And at that point, smoke starts pouring out of the top of the eave and just starts coming down.
Oh, no.
So I decide I need to move over to the next apartment next to it to start letting other people in the building know. So I bang on that door.
Oh,
Some
you've already
old
moved
guy
on. You're like, those people are dead. That's what I would do, too. I would I'm very logical about it. I'm like, well, they're not answering, so I have to save the people I can save, and hopefully I'll get back to these people.
Yeah.
So I go to the next door, bang on it. This older guy comes out. He's just wearing his like t-shirt and his shorts. And I'm like, sir, the building's on fire. You need to get out. And he goes bewildered. He looks at me like I'm crazy.
What?
And then he like pokes his head out and looks down and sees all the smoke. And he's like, I got to get my wallet. So he runs back inside.
Oh, that's you, Tom.
You're like, help me get my clothes. You're carrying out his big.
I got a Rubbermaid with Jinkos in it. He's like, oh no.
You're
Run
carrying
down
out
to the
his
next door,
gateway.
bang on it. Maybe no response, so hopefully no one's there. I go to the next one. I bang on this other door, and a lady comes to the door.
Nude.
And I'm, telling her that fire. She's like, all right, let me get my stuff and get out. At this point, the second floor balcony is like filling with smoke.
Oh, my
I
God.
can hear the sirens coming for the fire engines. And I get to maybe the next to the last door, and I bang on it. And this woman opens the door, and she's wearing her bathrobe, curlers in her hair. And I explain how, fire
Yeah.
to evacuate. And she starts freaking out because of her birds. She's like, I have to get my birds.
Oh, no. Not the bird.
Yeah.
My birds. So I'm like, all right, just go back, grab your birds. There's one more door I
Grab
have
your
to
birds.
knock on.
How do you even do that?
So I knock on the last door, and then I start coming back to help the bird lady. And she's got like this big bird cage on like a thing she's trying to roll out of her apartment door.
Yeah, like
Just
one of those
freaking out.
trays that an old teacher would put a TV and a VCR on. And this lady's got her
Yes,
birds on it,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I've seen these, and then you can't, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I don't believe if you're a bird person and there's a fire, and I'm not making jokes, I don't think you can just start grabbing your birds and shoving them all in one cage, because then won't they eat each other and fight?
They'll tear each other's beaks off.
Yeah, they'll freak out. Like, you
that's
can't-
that's the real thing.
Yeah, you can't just put them all in. It's not like like puppies, I think, are easy to get out of a fire. Cats, not so much. Birds, not so much. Puppies, you can shove them all in a cardboard box and throw them out a window. And as long as somebody's there to grab them, they'll be safe, right? They're not going to fight. They're not going to complain. Birds,
Oh, they'll rip each other's beaks off.
while you're trying to save them, they're killing each other.
Yeah. And they can't fly, so you can't even just open the door and
No.
then fly out the window.
That would be perfect world, right?
Yeah. So what
I
happened
kind of
next?
get her birds down the stairs. And as I get to the bottom of the stairs, the nurse who I saw earlier, I guess when I sprinted off towards the fire, she just started sprinting behind me. I had no idea. And she saw me go up the second floor to help people. And then she went along the first floor, evacuating people. And then as we kind of finished, the fire trucks were rolling up. And then, the professionals got there, and it turned out to be like a 3-alarm fire. So like 3 different,
God.
engine houses had to come out. And
Did any of the firefighters look at you and be like, "Hey, Coors, nice job with this bird"?
Yeah, did you get any credit from anybody?
I almost want you to have one of those moments where the firefighter's like, I've done this for 35 years. I don't think I've ever seen a son of a bitch as brave as me.
Now, you know
it's
what
like
I-
staring into a mirror right now. Nice job, Coors.
No, you know what? Firefighters, they get mad if you try to be a hero because they're the heroes.
I'm the hero.
My buddy Porno Joe told
Yeah.
me that. He's like, if some sort of a citizen
Oh, what
tries
do we
to,
got here?
yeah, they get mad. They're like, get out of here.
Oh, look, we got Marshall from Paw Patrol running through the state. You let the professionals handle it, Coors.
So did they yell at you like you shouldn't have done that, or did they give you credit?
no, I just kind of went out of their way, stayed out of their way, didn't really engage with them, and then went over to my apartment. However, the next day in the paper, there was a big write-up, and apparently there was 2 other people who claimed credit for getting everyone out of the apartment. So
No, they took him. Hold on.
You should have kicked him in the head. You're 6'7".
And those 2 people were Tom and Dan. Orlando's hero.
Yeah, I was filming it for TikTok across the street.
Yeah.
And then I saw,
And
I was like, I'll pretend to be the tall guy.
I didn't even film. I just yelled World Star as people were burning.
Yeah. So someone literally stolen valored you.
Man, that's rough.
yeah, the nurse was real mad. She's like, we got to find those people.
Oh my God. What are you going to kill them? Find those people and kill them.
So
That's a great story.
Well-
Man, what happened to the birds?
Oh, so the birds were saved. It turned out to be an electrical fire in the first apartment unit that I went to. And unfortunately, the woman, she was not there, luckily, but all of her belongings were destroyed. She was a Navy vet and had collected a lot of different items from traveling around
like
the
her
world,
travels.
when she was in
God.
the Navy.
That sucks.
So,
have you guys been getting these text messages scams where it links to phony GoFundMe's or whatever?
No.
You haven't seen these?
I've been giving to them.
No. Well, Crystal got one the other day, and it just said,
Yeah, I got
house, it said, house got burnt.
Yes, I got that one.
You got the house got burnt.
And there's
What?
a picture, and there's a picture. It's just a house, and then the ceiling's caved in, and it just says "house got burnt." That's all it says. And it says underneath it says "house got burnt," and then GoFundMe, and then you put it in your mouth.
Yeah, and I was like, give them $20.
I did get this one.
Yeah, just because it was funny. Like all you said is house got
It
burnt.
sounds like that joke that
Was it
Bubba.
someone you knew?
No,
it's a scam.
It sounds like that joke that Bubba used to say about the dog gone crazy. It's like it's like house got burnt. It's not
Right,
just
right.
like it's so
It didn't go into
stupid.
any explanation, or the person wasn't like, "Hey, this
They
is
got
my
to the
story."
point.
It just,
No, there was
house
no
got
bio.
burnt.
There was
Go
literally
fund me.
no explanation. It was just house got burnt and a link to give money. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha's here. The fish are out of frame. We have replaced the fish with a tall Kenny.
Now, I got to be honest. I forgot what the hell Kenny does with his bits. It's all runs
Yeah.
together. I was like, "Is this the trivia one?" I'm
I
like,
don't
know. That's true.
I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
if anybody knows. In fact,
And then I'm
He
like,
just tells us random
yeah,
stories.
we kind of come in clueless. We sit down. I fire this thing up. The magic box puts a person in the corner, and we go like, "Hey, tell us some stuff. You do the show."
Right.
That's what I say. So we have our friend Kenny on the line. He started as a game show segment where he's going to talk about all his game show
Right.
adventures.
Oh,
Then it
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
bled into he just auditions for a lot of weird stuff because he's addicted to being attention, apparently. And then it spiraled into where we are right now, where apparently he's dressed as if he is celebrating an African holiday.
Kenny, where'd you get that
Exactly.
shirt?
I was going to say. I got this shirt from Forever 21, so I'm trying to be hip
I like
and
it.
trendy.
I think it looks great.
Why are the sleeves so small?
Yeah, you look like a bartender at the Dawa bar at Animal Kingdom. you
That
do.
actually is true.
You look like a bartender at the Dawa bar. Everybody
That's a great
knows
bar, by
that's
the
a
way.
great bar. If you
Yeah.
are a Disney person, you know that bar, and you know that Kenny looks like he asked you if you want some Jumbo Punch.
Kenny,
I just realized this gold chain probably doesn't help either.
No, we
Oh,
approve
yeah.
that. We approve that. We are Florida
Yeah.
men, and Florida men love gold, so you
I-
just keep that on.
I think I want to go back to gold
I do
chain.
too.
Because I saw a picture
You
of
got me
myself.
on that, dude. My dad had the gold bracelet, and he had the gold chain.
I have a gold bracelet.
Let's start
because
rocking gold bracelets and gold chains and be the Florida boys.
I have 2 gold bracelets. I can give you one. And
Wait a minute, I thought you made these for your sons. They didn't want them?
No, well, they're too young.
They're like, ew, yuck, old man gold.
First, they're too young, and second, by the time they get like teenagers, like they're not gonna want some gold chain. It's gonna
They
be
might.
20, 30.
If
They want
go
laser
the way
chains.
no, I don't know. If
They're
they-
like, is this Bitcoin? They're like, no, it's actual gold.
Tommy will not want it.
They're like,
but you
ew.
know who will want it? Because by then it'll be a throwback. Is little Chet Hanks Max, who'll be a rapper. He's dancing crazy, and gold will be back in.
So anyway, Kenny, what you got for us today? Because I have
got
no
nothing.
idea. Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to. I've done live events in the past, and one of the events I did was for a student leadership organization. And I'm not sure if Dan or Tom or Sam, you guys did this, but there's like the Future Business Leaders of America and Future Farmers of America, all that stuff.
Yeah, I had
Well, this
friends.
organization-
Let me speak on that for a second. I had friends that were in that. Normally, it was my friends whose parents were rich. And it was just like it was like a club for kids that were like, my parents are rich, so I'm like a business guy. That's how
Yeah,
it felt.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a stereotype. And none of those kids are successful now, and
No.
some of them died of drugs. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Also, being involved in any club to me was for the nerds.
Not cool, yeah.
like so, I
Not
wanted
cool.
to do nothing.
The one that did get me though, and it was only because I got a corduroy jacket, was FFA. They got a blue corduroy jacket, but it wasn't like a cool Billabong corduroy jacket. It was more like a utilitarian, like I'm Kim Jong-un's brother blue jacket. Not as cool.
I didn't grow up around, like, we didn't have Future Farmers of America.
Well, you lived in Miami. Yeah, you're farming marijuana and cocaine.
There was
Right.
no farms anywhere.
no.
There was like strawberry fields, but they were owned for tax evasion purposes out in
Those are the great
Homestead.
cocaine strawberry fields.
Yeah, so like, so there was no future farmers, and farming wasn't even a job that anybody talked about, and was it like if you wanted to be a farmer, you were insane. If
Well,
you
when
were
people
Miami.
say it now, you just want to go like, when people are like, what do you want to be? Like, I have a very good friend who is a world class, and when I say world class, he's on the leading edge of like the technology, the hybrids, how to cultivate in smaller climates, how to save civilizations. You know what he does? Banana farming. He is a professional banana farmer.
Yep.
Top of his game scientist type S.
You can make a lot of money.
Oh, he does.
Just nobody was a farmer. So nobody's family was farmer. Like there was no farmer.
Yeah, but like
so-
Fisher-Price
yeah.
single-handedly has goofed on farmers, right? Because they make the farmer look like he got the dumb hat and he's a simpleton and he's on the tractor. But not all farmers. I mean, farming can, I think, be cool now, like my banana guy.
Well, just you own a small business,
But I think
or
we
a big
still,
business.
the
depending on-
stereotype of the overalls and the hat and you're a simpleton, and all you want to do is have a glass of tea with your chickens in the evening.
Yeah.
Fisher-Price is the one that's been doing that.
Yeah.
For years.
Every farmer in a cartoon is overalls,
Yeah.
yokel.
Yeah.
Big.
Disney
teeth.
has a cartoon based all around it that I love. It's Big City Greens. I love that cartoon. But the guy is a simpleton.
So, Kenny, you were a part of this club.
Well, no, I was actually, so I produced their event. So this was in the state of Washington, and it was for a marketing organization. And all the high school kids, if they do well, they get to go to Seattle, and they do this giant state event. It's a huge corporate thing, and we always have like a guest speaker. And because we're in Seattle, it's always like, oh, a vice president from Microsoft or someone from the Seattle Sounders or something. Well, this year, and the story I wanted to tell you about was one of the alumni who was a part of this organization in Washington was Jared Fogle from Subway.
Oh,
Yes. Whoa.
And so this was about 2010 or so like a couple of years before I got in trouble. So Jared is backstage with me with a bunch of other high
Hey, you
school
want to go see
kids.
some kids? Like, what does he say to you?
So basically, we have there's a lot of students that are there that are like the presidents and the vice presidents. So they're gonna speak and introduce them.
Is he
so they're
nervous?
backstage.
Like, is he like really nervous or sweating at all? Or
No, not all. He's sitting there. He's chatting with them. He's having a fun time. Well, music starts blasting because, this is like the beginning of the event. And so he starts like dancing with the high school kids. And it was grossly uncomfortable. But I didn't know at the time.
Like
but I'm
bumping and
oh, this is
grinding
like
or
TikTok.
like
TikTok
Carlton?
dancing?
Well, I mean, this was 2010, so it was a lot of like awkward shuffling back and forth as a 40-year-old white guy with high school kids.
How many years ago? I want to see what the big hit would have
11
been.
years ago.
11 years ago. What would have been the big hit?
It's probably like, I don't know, like something Lil Wayne or Lady Gaga or something.
Yeah, probably.
So what's interesting?
Poker Face or something, right?
What's interesting about
Poker Face? Pop, pop.
Kesha's TikTok was the number one hit in 2010.
What an ironic
That is
song, right?
let's look at before you continue because this
Yeah.
is
there's a lot to take
ridiculous.
in here. Yeah, there's a lot to take in here.
Let's analyze Jared Fogle for a second and what his actual job was with Subway, right? He was just a spokesperson,
Spokesperson,
right?
yeah.
So and his claim to fame was he started eating subs or as a diet and he lost weight,
He
right?
would eat the Veggie
And walking,
Delight, and he would walk and sit on a bench. I've seen that commercial
Yep.
like a million times.
Yeah, which is obviously ridiculous, and he must
It's
have...
also what pedophiles do, right?
Yeah.
They eat subs and then they walk and sit
They
on
walk
benches.
parks and look for children, yeah.
I'm just saying. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean-
when I see the commercial now, I see it with different eyes.
obviously there had to be more to it than just switching your diet to Subway subs.
Yeah.
But regardless, you're a spokesperson.
and with a healthy diet of subs and children, you can lose a ton of weight.
So now I wonder what Jared Fogle's back. How did he become the spokesperson of Subway? Like, was he?
I think
Did he approach
shared-
Subway?
Yeah, I think he shared his story, and I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe he shared his story, and then they're like, "Oh, this is great, this is inspiring,"
But
and then
he-
with very little research, I think they snagged him, and then like off to the races.
Yeah, but they had to have recognized some sort. He had to have some salesman in him, or some marketing, or some speaking positive.
I mean, was it sort of the big? What year was he brought in?
Well, so this was, I think, like late 90s, early 2000s is when he did it. So I agree that he had to have some sort of sales thing. But I think at the time he was just really proud of the weight loss and he loved Subway. So he just approached them. And I think the very first couple of commercials, he didn't really speak. It was just the photo of him holding the giant pants and smiling and saying, I did this. Like, so he really didn't need to do much spokesmaning, I guess. So maybe as the money started rolling in, he started getting better, trained in it.
How it happened was he wrote an article in the Indiana Daily Student News paper
yeah.
about losing 245 pounds,
I
and he
subscribe to
attributed
that.
it to eating Subway sandwiches. So the school published it, and somehow Subway heard about the article.
Yeah,
and
it
they
got back to
approached-
them, and they're like, "This is inspiring," and they snagged him up.
But if you think about the run he had,
15 years.
Yeah, he must have had some other ability, like his ability to public speak and to be a presenter. You know
He
what
was
I'm saying?
always
Like
awkward as hell, though.
he was, but
No, I
for
met
them
him
for
one
15
time.
years, like he must have had some other ability because
He just looked like your average Joe, and they're like, this guy can do it, you can do it.
Yeah,
I think that was the approach.
I think maybe his special power was that he just looked like an everyman,
Right.
like a very safe. Well, unfortunately, he was not.
No,
but I'm just
no.
saying, when you looked at him, that's what he had. Like, I don't know if I met him. He was not a good speaker. I met him. He's awkward. He's weird.
Yeah.
but
I
that's
met him in the hallway of Clear Channel, and but you're
What an odd-
you're thinking that he has extra things to offer when maybe he has nothing else to offer, and Subway just knew that the story was so powerful on its own because so many people struggle with weight loss, right?
Yeah.
It's probably the biggest thing. The
It's true.
biggest thing.
Yeah, but I feel
It doesn't take much, right?
I feel like if you're a billion-dollar corporation, that you would you could find other people that could lose weight and attribute it to Subway subs, and
But
you
he
wouldn't
was
have
a
to.
natural one. You
He-
see what I'm
it
saying?
was
And
natural, I guess, but-
I bet you they were like, well, this obviously he did it on his own. We don't have to coach him. It's not going to look fake. It's not going to look like we are like paying him tons of money to do this. It looks like a legit weight loss story.
But they ended up like he was on their payroll, and he made how much from
Oh, I
Subway?
don't know. Loads.
Did he make over $1 million? Did they pay how many? What was his
I don't know.
A lot.
Like,
I mean, he worked for him for 15 years. It had to be
Yeah.
a lot. I don't know. I don't have.
I think he made more in 15 years than I did at Real Radio.
was it a full time? Yeah, for sure.
No, I'm just saying to put it in
well,
perspective.
he also did like speaking engagements where he got paid as well.
But that's the thing for
his net worth is $4 million.
Okay, so he got paid, and so I guess not that much. I guess if you break it over 15 years, we've all made over $1 million over a lifetime because
Sure.
but it doesn't mean anything,
Right.
But to be and get paid for speaking engagements, like he's at this high school, like being a speaker, a presenter, what did he talk about?
Well, he talked about his journey, and it really wasn't so much on the business side of things. It was more along the lines of, hey, if you put your mind to a goal, you can achieve it, even in the most, weird way possible. Like I did it by walking to Subway and eating. But, if you want to start a business, you don't have to do the stereotypical business route. You can, go your own way. And that was really like his overall message. But
Cue the Fleetwood Mac.
I hate everything about this because
I know
what he achieved is nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Hold on.
He ruined his family, Tom.
Hold
he
on.
ruined his family.
Well, no. I'm just
That's
saying.
a good-
He would have done that anyway.
Besides from being a pedophile, obviously, that we know
Take
he is.
that out of play.
I'm just saying, and it is extremely hard to lose weight. I understand
It
that.
is.
I mean, that is a full-time job if you want to, especially lose 200
I'm trying to
pounds,
do it right now. Every morning I eat a Subway.
Yeah.
I walk to a bench. Nothing's happening.
But if you go to a bunch of kids and be like, go out there and be someone, go out there and build the business. Like, I just walked to Subway and ate Subway sandwiches. That's how well, that's nothing.
You're a bum.
Like, I'm saying, like, that's easy. Like, I know it's hard to lose weight, but you're giving the wrong message. You're like, well, you did nothing. Like, building a business is hard. Doing all going to school is harder than walking to Subway and then eating one sub meal. It's stupid. Anyway, sorry.
so what was
You did
crazy is there's
nothing,
about
Jared. You stink.
Well, he's in federal prison now.
this is what
so
I
it's
wanted.
fine.
I'm
This
just
is
sorry.
what I
So
wanted.
there was like 10 to 11,000 high school students like in attendance because we were in a giant like convention center, and they knew that he was there. And I swear to God, like as if you said Justin Bieber in his teenage
he was
days,
a big
when
deal.
they said Jared from Subway, all these high school kids just lost their minds
that's
insane to
over
me.
it.
No, but
In 2010?
you have to take away the whole
just-
pedophilia thing, and you have to look at it like.
But he's a nerd.
Yeah, but
he
he's
was always a
also-
nerd.
He's a famous.
Who
he's
doesn't
famous.
know who he is?
Yeah, he's on TV.
You know,
Yeah, but I wouldn't care.
My dad
I would not
knew
care
who-
if
Yeah,
I was
but
in high school.
My
You're
dad
doing-
knew who he was.
organization.
My mom knew who he was.
Yeah.
My
There's some weird thing about seeing a celebrity that is just to the human psyche we're enamored by it.
We are.
Like we see
It's like seeing a king.
Like-
you're like, look, the king's here. You're like, oh my God, get the pom froms out.
So no matter what he's famous for, if you respect him or don't, it's still he's famous. He's on TV. Everybody knows this guy.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's we like I'm just saying.
No,
not everybody is enamored by that, but especially high school kids, they get like obsessed. Like, oh my god, this
Drunk
guy's
with the fame.
This guy's famous. Make me famous too.
You ask me, it's like, hey, you want to go to the assembly, skip class, and see a famous Jared from Subway? I'd be like, oh, that's all. Like,
it's something.
I can put myself in that time and be like, yeah, heck yeah.
Everybody wants to be
especially
famous.
for this conference, like all they're doing, they're speaking to like, oh, here's some random marketing person from Microsoft. Here is and again, as cool as it is, like they're meeting with a lot of these business executives. So like imagine you're making millions of dollars as the VP for, Expedia located in Seattle, but then no one gives a crap, but everyone cheers over Jared from Subway.
And it's especially now that you know he is a pedophile, you're like, oh God.
Yeah. But
those kids were, I bet those kids feel really stupid now.
Well, the kids are
especially
stupid.
the ones
Remember
were
that time
backstage.
Jared Fogle came to high school?
God, I really regret clapping for him that day.
I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure he got phone numbers of some of the kids
Stop. You
backstage
can't
after they
say
were
that.
there.
You can't say that.
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
know that to be true.
No, yeah. I
Listen,
bet
you
it's true.
guys are making it bad. He just got a cell phone.
Tom got the
He was a
numbers.
smart
Tom
kid.
got the numbers
It's
of at
100%.
least 3 to 4 older teens yesterday. It's totally fine.
Oh,
You guys
man.
are making it
Listen.
weird. Yard care. It's yard care.
It's 100% true because like the guy is a predator, right?
Yeah.
He's a bad
Yes,
person.
he
Yeah.
is.
So
He's bad.
for sure, he probably got some phone numbers.
He's bad.
Yes.
He's a bad guy.
I felt a little bit of guilt because it's like, did I encourage this?
You
Did I,
enabled him,
push
Kenny.
You were over there
onto the
booty
kid?
dancing with him.
I can't believe you, Kenny.
So-
Yeah, you were over there
Kenny-
dancing to Kesha's TikTok.
Kenny,
What's
okay.
that one? What was the one that she did? What was the one about the timber? Oh, timber was a good one.
Yeah. Was that Pitbull and Kesha?
Dale.
So, Kenny, throughout the time that I've done this, which is like been in media, right?
Round and round.
Anybody that I've ever met that I don't know of, like I don't know their accomplishments or why they're famous or whatever, but they are famous.
Sure.
And I meet that person because they're at the radio station or they come here or whatever.
Yeah.
There's always something where I see what made them famous or why they're likable or what's about like their ability to speak or like motivate people or whatever it is. Like I don't know them. I'm like, oh, this person's famous. And then after talking to them or interviewing them or just being around them, I'm like, oh, they got something, right? Usually there's something to famous people that got them there. It's some personality trait, even the ability to manipulate or
almost like
scam.
an aura around
Dude,
them. Like, I'll tell you who has it.
Successful
huge.
business guys are the same. Like I talk to him, I'm like, oh, this guy's a good salesperson. This guy's a good manipulator.
Yeah.
This guy's got an instinct or something.
Or
There's
an
something.
energy. You know who has
Energy,
that?
yeah.
You know who has the energy that is weird is Marlon Wayans. When he comes in here,
Yeah.
and we know
Oh,
he's
yeah.
famous, but
All
even
the
if
Wayans,
but
though,
even if I didn't
they
know who
all
he
have
was,
that.
they give off an energy that you're
Yeah.
like, you are
They're
something.
charismatic.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
thing. You have a thing going
Look
on.
at Jesse Wolf from Oding Hummus.
He has the thing.
You know,
He has
so
the thing.
So Kenny, did Jared have any of that, or did he was just a awkward weirdo?
So when he gets on stage, he's your everyday man. He looks like your average dad that is a little bit overweight but has glasses or whatever.
Is he
But
shooting
as
like a
weird as-
sub cannon? Does he have an outfit? I want him to have.
Does he have a Subway polo?
Yeah, no, he just showed up dressing very professional. But I will admit, when he's on stage, he doesn't stutter, he doesn't stammer. He actually has a pretty nice smile. Like he looks like you kind of not knowing the pedophile stuff. You're like, oh, that's a nice guy. That
you like pedophiles,
trust
Kenny?
and
I didn't know
believe.
this about you.
Well, okay, that makes sense. I wanted to know if there was something about it. So obviously, to get up and public speak, even in front of a high school or whatever. In fact, that's his favorite place to speak. But that takes a skill. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody can do that and
No.
do it confidently
It's hard.
without
We've done it. It's hard.
without sounding nervous. I hate public speaking. You know, like
Yeah,
it
it's
would give
not
me
easy.
crazy anxiety. But it's so all right. So he
I've
had
spoken
that.
at high schools. I've spoken at colleges. The one thing I did not do is dance with the kids. I didn't.
Maybe
Right.
you should
I
have.
just want everybody to know that. No, I'm not going to do it. I'll dance with my daughter, sir.
and
Or dance with my
Will
father.
you dance with?
I want to
Will
dance.
you dance with your daughter when she's in high school?
Oh, absolutely. I want to dance with my father again.
You know
Does
what?
anybody remember that song?
I simultaneously, it's interesting because in one side of my mind, I'm like, how did Subway not vet this guy or do or at least
Well,
someone
he wasn't on an offenders list at that point.
No,
Right.
I know, but
Even we had to do some digging for our wrestling matches, winky winky.
you would think someone would have tipped Subway off or some executive like, hey, this guy's, because
Maybe it wasn't there yet. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. The
So
whole
here's a
story.
theory. Yeah. What if he wasn't a pedophile, but because he got this famous, he got that ego of, I can do anything. I'm Jared from Subway.
That's
I
No,
terrifying,
he was
dude.
always a pedophile.
Yeah, I think that's terrifying
Well,
what you're saying.
if you're a grown man and you are sexually attracted to under 18-year-olds, that's a mental
it's there,
it's a
yeah.
mental
I think
issue
that's just
that
there.
just like this guy was.
I don't think that comes on like a herp breakout.
No, but
Yeah.
but maybe he didn't act on it until.
Yes, I
he
agree.
got
Right,
rich
yeah.
and
right.
famous.
Okay.
Oh yeah, well because
I can follow that.
the teens weren't throwing themselves at him,
Right.
or whatever they,
No,
they're
I think
famous.
maybe there's some truth to what Kenny's saying. You had a family, everything else, not acting on suppression. I'm
Also,
a monster. Then
let's
you get
not
big.
pretend that
big
pedophiles
ego.
don't just hide it and
Oh,
just
yeah.
look at kiddie porn.
And then
you know what I'm
groom
saying?
and
yeah, I'm
Exactly.
sure and
They're weirdos.
So he could have been laying low and not acting on it.
Obviously,
God, Kenny, why'd you bring this to the
Man,
table?
It was happening
this is
to
a
her.
downer.
Heavy.
it's
Well, how much time do we have left in this segment? Because I'll talk to you about
pretty much done.
hypnosis.
Yeah, who you bringing up next?
We all-
Terry Schiavo?
we only got one
God,
for the time for one story
One
about
pedophile
old
story.
Jared. Do you think that made all corporations
back away from spokespeople?
scared of spokespeople?
it
Now
did.
it's all cartoons.
There was a time when I feel like Chick-fil-A even wanted to execute the cows. They're like, we're done with everything. No
Right.
more, no nothing.
Yeah, because
Just here's our sandwiches. Eat them or not.
or like a heavily vetted celebrity that has been a celebrity for a long
They're
time.
dangerous.
and,
They're problematic, right?
because they're human. So they get drunk. Like even
Randy Travis is naked in the back of a cop car,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
pooping, and that poor guy writes gospel music for Christ's
Well,
sake.
I think a lot of companies are starting to do multiple people. Like, look at Capital One. They have Samuel L. Jackson, but then they also have
Jennifer
what's her
Garner.
face from. Yeah, Jennifer Gardner. Like, they're starting to do multiple
Yeah.
campaigns and multiple people, probably as a
Just
safe
in
bet
case.
to where.
You know who we forget where he made his money, and I know, and I think the comedy deal out at the Luxor is huge. Is Carrot Top? I think we all forget that he made big fat checks on that 1-800 call collect stuff.
Oh yeah.
When
I
he
don't
was
even
doing those
remember
commercials,
that.
yeah, it's a little like he hit a. I believe that this man hit a window with his comedy, his persona. Just he's very likable, super charismatic, and a wonderful person. And you put him in that commercial, and it just worked. And I think they were just trucking him money.
Yeah.
Just trucking it. And then the Luxor got wind of his popularity. They brought him in. They gave him a truckload of money, and he is sailing into the sunset.
It's not like it was though, because pre social media, internet, or at least like right at the beginning where it wasn't as popular, there was still a time where everybody was still watching cable TV,
Yeah.
and if you were a spokesperson for a gigantic corporation, everybody saw it, right? And
did
at
the-
that time, that you were getting paid like crazy.
What did that Can You Hear
unlimited
Me
money.
Now trader make? What did that guy make?
Oh, well,
That little opportunist.
if you were an actual celebrity, you can command a lot more because you have the leverage. A lot of these just actors that hit it big, like got one
He
commercial
defected.
role. Yeah,
I'd love to talk to that guy, Sam. You think he probably can't talk about any of that, can he? I think that's
Look at Lily from AT&T, became a huge celebrity and then just got crazy sexually harassed and
Yeah.
completely blasted for her looks.
She happens to have a very unique look. She happens to be ample on the top. Sam knows about that. I'm sure Sam's dealt with a lot of this. And she just gets some nasty stuff. And she said, I'm out. And didn't she stop?
No, she did
Well,
one during quarantine.
No, I thought she had said recently,
Oh, okay.
I'm done with this.
I don't know.
I'm not
But
doing-
her recent AT&T commercials, because I still think she was under contract, if you notice, she's wearing a long sleeve shirt. She's
Yeah.
wearing a sweater. She's covering up a
covering
lot
up,
more,
yeah.
so you
Stupid.
can't idolize her.
why
Yep.
did you ruin it?
Because people are terrible.
You didn't have to say a horrible thing. I mean, in your mind, you could have just simply said, boy, that girl looks very nice. That's all you had to say in your mind.
Yep.
But you didn't need to write her a letter about how big and voluptuous her breasts are.
letter. She should probably
Well,
get,
on the
a
you know what I
thousand
mean.
social media.
Yeah, that's what I mean on the old Googs.
And when's the last time we got a letter?
We
in
get
our
letters
P.O.
all the
box?
time here. We got weirdos.
We do?
We do get a few, yeah.
and the people
never
are.
see it.
they
Tom
send-
Rhodes sends one
Yeah,
every
Tom
couple
Rhodes
months.
sends us every couple months. He sends us a postcard.
Postcard.
I think that's. I think
He's
that's
trying
a
to
power
make
move.
No, he's trying to make up. He's trying
No,
to say
it's a
sorry.
power move to keep his thumb
There's
on
some
us.
passive aggressive comments
Yeah,
on those
there's some,
postcards.
there's some weird stuff in there.
He's fine.
I light my cigars with every single one of them.
He's fine. All right, Kenny. Good story today. We appreciate that.
Was it a good story?
It was.
I
like
think
it.
that's what we're naming this segment. Was it a good story? With Kenny? That's a great. I'll
I
write
do
it.
like that.
Jared
yeah.
Fogle.
Yeah,
I'll take it only if you call me Big Kenny.
All right, Big Kenny. I'll take you up on. I like calling you Big Kenny now. This guy's 6'4". I always forget how tall he is because
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen you in like 4 years, dude.
So Jared, okay, we'll end with this. Jared Fogle will eventually get out of prison. I don't know.
can't wait.
2029.
2029.
Is when he's
Yes.
eligible.
Should we throw him a party?
So
No.
most likely they'll probably boot him out of, he's probably not making too much trouble in prison, right? He's just
What do you
sitting
mean
there.
boot him out?
Well, I'm saying he'll like get paroled.
And who
for
picks him up
good-
as a spokesperson?
No,
Rhino Subs
Does
on Lee Road. I love that place.
he disappear into
He should.
nothingness, or does he get
Jerry
into
Springer route cowboy album, country music album.
Oh
or
my God.
get into some sort of weirdo internet attention thing to make some sort of money?
It's possible.
Because
What do you mean, like the George Zimmerman way, where you
Right.
double down on
You
being
start
a piece
painting, yeah.
dude? Who
of? You
knows?
double down on being garbage? Oh, gross.
Nowadays, you could get into some weirdo internet thing and make some sort of living doing
Oh.
some weirdo internet thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like,
He
there's
could also do. He could also do the Michael Vick, where Michael Vick now goes around speaking for animal rights, and kind of doing the whole thing where maybe he goes around saying, "Hey, I'm a rehabilitated pedophile. Let me be the spokesperson now for rehabilitation."
yeah,
The weirdest
he
thing
can
about
get
it
into
is he
religion.
dresses
or
So,
like
something.
I was gonna say he'll get into the church.
Yeah, yeah.
He dresses like a
They'll
dog
forgive
when
him.
he does it. It's very odd.
Hey, all right, Kenny. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, love you guys.
All right.
Hey, do you got anything to plug?
Yes, his podcast.
Oh yeah.
You
What do you?
always forget that. Yeah, Two Moves Podcast, TOOMOOFS. We're actually going to be doing it tonight. So if you're on Facebook, search up Two Moves Podcast.
I'll jump in there.
And last,
I'll jump in
last
there and
thing
be
I'll give
awkwardly
you.
your only viewer.
Yeah, that's fine. We average a good 3 viewers a
Okay,
show.
all
That's
right. I'll be
great.
one of 3.
I've popped in there.
Last bit of trivia. Jared's favorite Subway sandwich is a sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
That was very popular with the people of Outdoor World at Festival Bay
That
Mall.
was really funny,
Kenny-
and you got me, Kenny. I didn't expect that.
Kenny, listen. I do not mean to ask you this to be disrespectful. I promise.
What? No.
But
Wait, that's what disrespectful
This
people
is
say.
That's not. I'm curious.
This is his Elon
Listen, I'm not
syndrome.
racist, but
Yeah, Are we going to start referring to Tom as Elon? He does have the cheeks. He
don't got the cash,
cheeks.
though.
He's got those Elon cheeks.
does.
Elon's got those red,
Yeah.
like Campbell Soup Kid cheeks. You got Elon cheeks.
So when you're doing your podcast and you're on Facebook Live and you look down and there's 2 viewers, right? Do you at any time say why are we even doing this? 2?
well,
Why?
we know-
Huh?
we get a good amount actually downloading and everything. I don't think people are going to sit down or have Facebook on in the background. So we don't. The video portion is just so we can get Sam chimes in every once in a while on our podcast.
You know why?
But, if we can
'Cause
get
Sam-
that as some.
Sam is a very good person, and if Sam knows that your podcast needs a viewer, I swear to God, she will go there. I've been in more lonely chat rooms for podcasts, and Sam's always in there. Always in
No,
there.
you know
She
what?
beats me in
Sam,
there.
you're enabling them. You're dragging them on. They're
But
wasting
I'm
their
trying to
lives.
You
support
are.
their dreams.
They're wasting their lives.
I'm going to throw the compliment out there. There is no podcast person that consumes and is more supportive globally of podcasting than Samantha Har. There just is not. She supports almost everybody's podcast.
Almost. You know who
Her
you are.
husband
Yeah, there's
likes
one
every
guy.
single status we put out there.
See,
Between the Hars, they're just great people.
They are good people. I agree. I agree. And the husband is so smooth.
I know you got to start somewhere, but it just the mountain is 2. You can't like one Sam.
Well, they're 2 moves.
Sam's not gonna say
Sam and
much.
Dan.
That's right. We're the 2.
They're not gonna.
We're the 2 moves.
Yeah, 2 moves right here.
I'm sorry, Kenny. All right, 2 Moves podcast. Go watch them tonight. So Kenny's not sad of 2.
Oh, okay. Bye, Kenny.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Oh, I did it. Oh, we got another guy in the meeting room. Oh, hold on.
That's our next guest.
Oh, is that our next? Oh, God. Okay.
Bye bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. Welcome to the show, everybody.
All right, let's jump into it.
Yeah, let me find my new button here. I've got it in action. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by Streamline Florida. If you want to get a refi or a mortgage, talk to Brian Zymel and his team. Anywhere in Florida, they can hook you up and literally do it over the phone.
Super easy.
Talk to them about a refi. Take some equity out of your house while the house values.
Take all of the equity out of your house. Buy jet skis and live a little.
Yeah. Redo your house,
Don't redo your house. Take all the money you can out, refinance, you get that payment real low, and burn it. Just burn that money.
Enjoy your life. Or get a or if you're trying to buy a house, use Streamline. They'll get a mortgage.
Sorry, I went that way because I never go the reckless way.
Yeah.
We always say, take some money out, improve your home. Now I want to go reckless occasionally to pull those people in as well.
Take $50K out, buy a Bitcoin, whatever you want.
Get on that Doge.
Anyway, so today's contestant for Weird Job is Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Good morning. Good. How are you guys?
Good, man. You look really confused.
I don't know where to look. I didn't know if we were going to be Zoom or audio. So yeah.
Yeah, just
look.
really awkward. You could just look right into your camera. You'll be
fine.
just fine. Just fine. I realize this is a little weird.
So, Chris, what is your weird job?
My job is to, which most kindergartners can do, is cut and paste.
All
cut
right.
and paste paper.
So what does that mean?
Simplest form as I can get.
He is a hole punch artist.
Remember the video I showed you?
No.
Of the guy that created an entire canvas painting out of tiny little pieces.
Oh, yeah.
That's
That's the guy. We got the guy.
So
I'm that guy.
Tom
I'm that
and I,
dude.
okay, like it's very, okay, this is maybe the weirdest job we've had. What you do is extremely difficult to describe.
Right.
But
Until you see it. Yeah.
Until you see it. But okay, so basically you use the traditional little hole puncher that we all know when you're a little kid, the little metal, look like scissors, but it's a little hole puncher.
Right.
You use those tiny little pieces of paper, I'm guessing millions of them, to make pictures, to make paintings, to make...
They're basically mosaics, really, when it comes down to it. And I take paper hole punches, I arrange them in a way so that the image is recognizable, and I make mosaics. Really, that's what I do.
And they're amazing. I saw you. A listener sent it to me. Are you a relative of a listener? Is that how we know you?
That is my favorite brother-in-law.
Okay,
yes,
well your brother-in-law sent us a video that Tom and I watched probably 15 times.
This is crazy,
and we're like, this is the nuttiest thing because it was Am I right in saying millions of tiny pieces of paper?
Over probably the past 7 years, I've been doing it for about 7-8 years. I've probably touched 1 million paper hole punches with tweezers. Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So
around there,
Chris,
it's a lot.
He uses tweezers and paper to make mosaics, Tom.
Let's go back because I'm fascinated by this art form because it's existed in other avenues and ways, and I'll give examples. I've seen this on Facebook before where someone's taken a Rubik's Cube and basically using the colors of a Rubik's Cube has put together like hundreds of them to make a mosaic. People have done it with dominoes. People have done it with like sand and like other kind of this in the same vein where they're using small bits of color to make a grandiose mosaic of and then it's so detailed from far away, and when you get closer, it's a bunch of little things in different colors. Right. So where did you discover you have the ability to do this? Yes. Because it seems like only certain people's brains work this way.
I can't. Yeah, that's a great question.
I don't understand it.
When I look at it, I don't think I see it like you see it.
Right. Well, I've done art my whole life. Nothing. I took a summer course when I was in middle school, so I've always had the art creative side to my life. I also attribute it a lot to my grandmother. She was very deep into watercolors, which is something that frightens me. I don't like not being able to control my color with watercolors. It's more of a fluid creation.
Yeah.
But so I've always done art, acrylics, oils. That being said, it gets kind of expensive with supplies, brushes and paints and canvas. And there came a point in my life where I was just really poor. I did not have money for art supplies. And I had actually, for years, hadn't done anything creative. I was just grinding and working, and I had kind of set that part of my life to the side.
Sure.
I found myself, and when I explain this, it's going to make it sound like I was in jail. I was not in jail. I found myself renting out a room with a lot of time on my hands, and had gotten my things in order where I was going to start rebuilding my art life, my creative life. And I was sitting watching TV, and I actually mentioned this. There's a little excerpt on my website where I was flipping through magazines, and there was an image of a man smoking a cigarette, and I thought to myself, well, that's pretty interesting to look at. I wonder if I could recreate that. Now, in mind, I didn't want to spend money on art supplies, but I did have a very simple art kit next to me, and it had, the children's scissors and the paper hole punch and a couple crayons, really. And doubled with that, for a very long time in my life, I also was a nurse, and I worked in nursing homes and whatnot. And I watched these adults go into the golden years of their life, and a lot of things they had to sacrifice because for finances and space, really. And freedom. So I thought to myself, what's something that I could do the rest of my life that is very inexpensive, that I don't really need much motility with arms and moving around, but it's still very creative. So with those two thoughts, I looked at that paper hole punch in that magazine, and I thought, I wonder if I could create that with paper hole punches. And I started, and I...
Were you completely, and I mean no disrespect, were you completely sober when you were thinking of this?
It sounds like a high idea.
It does sound like a high idea. It sounds like something I sit there and I'm looking through one of my wife's magazines, and I see like an Estee Lauder ad with a beautiful man, let's say in a tuxedo, and I look at it and I go, oh, that's a great photo. I wonder if I can recreate that with hole punches, because I just took a 50 milligram Truly pill. Let's get it. Let's go.
And you can do it.
At this moment, definitely sober. I'm not saying I've been always sober, but at this moment, I was very lucid sober.
Yeah.
But there could have been times in my life where certain parts of my brain were unlocked.
But not now.
With help.
And not for your inspiration. And so you started doing it, and so you executed. And how big was your representation of this photo that you wanted to create?
This one was 4 feet by 4 feet. And I soon quickly learned that just doing hundreds of paper hole punches with a single paper hole punch wasn't going to work, because that in itself takes hours and hours. I got a 3-hole puncher, and I developed a system where I can probably punch out 10,000 holes in an hour just by turning on some good music.
Before I met my wife, I punched out about 10,000 holes.
Some of them are rough.
Rough holes, Never made it to a 3-hole punch, but it felt like it. They're big.
You ever been to...
like throwing a hole punch down a hallway. I'm sorry.
You ever been to Bushnell?
No, you're good. You're good.
It's bad. Anyway, so the actual, let's go to the process.
And you can find him on TikTok. If you don't mind, what is your TikTok that people can check out?
Sure. The TikTok is The Only Chris Evans. That's my moniker for TikTok.
The Only Chris Evans. And these videos are phenomenal, man.
And we're, by the way, we're going to look at some of these pieces. I'm sure you have some to show us. If not, we can go online and show some. But
I'll work on that if we can't.
But the process, obviously, you need holes of every color, right?
Correct.
Do you just get them from magazines? What paper do you use?
I have found. I tried magazines for a while, although I was getting discouraged with magazines because usually magazines come with a gloss. And when I am attempting to create something so large using such small things and there's a light refraction on the glossy paper, I have found it gets to be frustrating. So I have found that just using matte newspaper around the city actually produces the best results with the best detail. And I have, like oils and acrylics and any other type of painting you would do, or crayons or markers, I basically make piles of certain colors, certain shades, the reds, the greens, the blues, the pinks, really whites, kind of grays. Then I'll have piles of...
sorry. Hold on.
TikTok.
Hold on, that's your TikTok. I got to turn that down.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's me. That's me. I farted.
Flute farted.
Unicorn.
Yeah, you know what they say about guys who flute fart. I know what my dad used to say about it. That's the thing I hate about TikTok too, by the way, is that it just goes. TikTok, you fire up TikTok, TikTok's like, nah, I'm going.
Loud.
But I have some stuff to show.
Anyway,
people.
I'll make piles of colors.
Here's one of your videos that our listeners can check out right now. That's basically.
Yeah, let's see.
You making some stuff.
We're basically showing all the Tupperware bowls of different hole punches. Now, where do you start, and how high, like how big of a mosaic, like is it usually 4x4? Does it get bigger? Do you start in the middle, work your way out? How does that work?
Sure. I usually, whoever I'm doing it for will talk about it and what they're looking to spend on it. Like of these comedians right there, like Robin Williams, I'm doing a series of 5 comedians I enjoy. They're all going to be 4x4, really, and those are that's up to my discretion. But usually, people will do the 36 by 24 inch size, and I like to start. If it's a portrait, I usually like to start with the people's eyes. I find that's very important. If I don't get the eyes right, it doesn't work. It doesn't look good.
This is unbelievable. I'm looking at the
and there's a 3-hole punch.
Yeah. This is just.
So I'll do that on a Saturday morning for 3 or 4 hours, because what you don't want to do is halfway through the mosaic, you don't want to run out because you're losing your momentum. You don't want to run out of a certain shade or style of type you're looking for. So for me personally, if you build up your piles way before, it's a more fluid process, and you start grooving and you just start going for it.
Now, do you glue every single hole punch individually?
Again, through trial and error, because at first I thought I was going to spray down some adhesive, dump a pile on there, whatever stuck, and go from there. It doesn't. The paper hole punches are so fragile. I have found it's just best to do one by one.
And do you do that with tweezers?
Yeah, and it's not like I'm picking up the tweezers. I will dab a little. I'll, like the glue stick I have, I'll dab the tip of the tweezer on the glue stick, and I'll be able to pick up 10 hole punches until I have to
reglue
it.
Oh my God!
So there's it's not as tedious as picking every single one up. It's still tedious, but not it.
Well, let's talk about your Robin Williams painting. It's 4 foot by 4 foot. It's amazing. It's insane.
Thank you.
Find that video if you really want to get like kind of the whoa factor that Tom and I are talking about. Find that video, and then when you see the reveal at the end, you're like, oh my God.
And before I ask you how long that took, do you draw it on the canvas and then place the hole punch over the drawing so you get scale and everything like that? Or do you literally draw it with the hole punch as it goes?
It depends. If I'm doing something that's not as abstract, like a forest or some type of landscape, I let my imagination do more of where I want to put it. But if it's like, say for that was a 30th wedding anniversary, if it needs to be a very recognizable portrait or face, I will draw out the dimensions I need, so I don't have to think as much, and I can worry more about the shading or the tone or the colors I want to use. So it's not completely barren, and I just start going for it. I do set myself up where I know where things are supposed to be going and when it's time to start changing shades or not.
That's
So-
like, I mean,
Maybe someday I won't have to, but right now I'm still learning
I
that
think
way.
I would want the sort of the lines there too, because at some point you want to have and this is just my opinion, you would want to be a little more mechanical in the aspect and almost like free your mind to look at the dots and the shades. And what I'm thinking of, and you tell me if this is accurate, most people in the chat room, myself included, when I see this, it seems like a very relaxing, a very zen, a very calming. Do you have music playing while you do this? Do you listen to podcasts? You just alone with your own thoughts? Do you talk to people? How do you, because I would imagine this takes some time. So what do you do?
At first, many years ago, I just did music. It was a space that was my own. I just forgot about everything, and I just became in the moment, and I listened to a lot of music. Now so much I can carry on conversations. My mind has been able to free up a little bit, but it is very relaxing. And I still listen to music, and depending on how much I want to get done that day, I'll change the style of music. If I have a goal, say I'm going to get this hair done today, I'll listen to either upbeat techno music or music that I know the lyrics to, so I can sing with it, and then I can get a lot of done. It's funny, when I sing to music, I can get more done. I don't understand it, but a lot of Halls and Oates and 70s stuff.
Yeah, man, put that yacht rock on and go to town.
Yeah, the fun stuff.
So, Chris, that Robin Williams mosaic, how many hours does that take?
If I try to figure it out, if I sat down and didn't do anything else in my life, I figured it was roughly 80 to 90 hours.
Oof.
That's a lot
altogether, and that's with punching out the paper hole punches. And I figured I counted up all the glue sticks I had by ounces. I figured it's about 1.5 pounds of glue total.
Oh my God.
For a 4x4.
It's just like, I don't think people are even understanding the scope of this.
Yeah.
Right.
So after that painting is done, do you put some sort of coating over the top of it to seal it all in place so that it doesn't get ruined? Do you finalize it?
Yeah, there's I found through the years, and it's kind of cool because through the years, the acidity in the paper, along with the glue, it'll actually kind of change the colors of the paper hole punches. So it's almost like each one of them will age with you as it hangs on your wall. But also the backing, and I have experimented with different backing, like the Robin Williams, the Bill Murray, the Jim Carrey. I used just plywood. And I've found through the years, the wood will continue to suck the glue in, and the paper hole punches eventually begin to flake off. Nothing really falls off, but it becomes almost 3D. So I've found that spray-on enamel doesn't affect the color of the paper hole punches that much, and it provides a nice top coat without the sheer. Because again, I don't having it glossy it doesn't bring out the colors as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, spray-on enamel works.
So I've seen people do this with sand, and this is like a popular, I think I've seen it on TikTok too, where there's artists that do the same thing that you're doing kind of conceptually, as far as putting different colors of sand to create a mosaic or whatever. And then they'll ruin it, or it'll
Then
just
they'll
be like
dress
short.
up like their grandma. They'll come running in and they'll give you their top 5 tips on.
And so, because you have the ability to do it with hole punches, can you do it with sand and other things?
Oh, you mean like him?
Yeah,
personally,
like does your brain?
Could you like cut a hot dog because that's round? Could I cut a bunch of hot dogs up and then give them to you, and you make us like a massive hot dog painting?
You have to die.
That sounds tasty. You know what? I might try that actually. Maybe for a barbecue.
Yeah, I'd be
and
like,
eat it afterwards.
You
Maybe
could use all kinds
Mini
of different
pepperoni.
different mini
Make it
pepperoni.
easy.
Don't listen to him.
Vienna sausage. Yeah.
Yeah. I am a Vienna sausage, Chris. I don't know if you know that.
So, can you do it with other things?
I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you can do. I think you can do with anything. I've seen. I follow certain artists that they rip up magazines and they're just tear pieces, and they glue them together. So you could do leaves. You can do anything. That's the thing I love about mosaics is up close. You can use really anything: stone, sand. You could probably use hair follicles if you wanted to.
Yeah.
As long as you keep the vision in mind, and as you back up, you're able to see the big picture and what you're creating.
So,
Yeah,
Chris,
you could use like human bones if you wanted to.
so where they've done things like that, and like
thinking of the catacombs.
catacombs in France.
Yeah, the catacombs.
Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly what
They're
I was
making art out of human
Not
bones.
to go morbid, but it
Yeah.
is one of the first places I think of because they've done some really like pretty amazing pieces, and it is art. And it's not meant to be spooky. I don't think. I think it's meant to be like here's to you. Like a tribute.
Oh, it's spooky.
It's spooky. Real spooky.
So-
a lot of death there.
Chris, when was
Yeah.
the first time you realized you could sell these? And explain to us the business behind it. Is it all commission based? Is it auction based? Like, how do you sell these?
I started with the Bill Murray. I got online and I noticed there was it was called a Bill Murray Invitational, and it was in San Francisco. And I submitted my idea, and they loved it. It did not sell. Most of these that are on TikTok are still in my dining room because whatever reason they're not sold yet. They're huge, and I end up doing the math. It ends up being like $2 an hour after I'm done with them.
Oh,
So
man.
they're a labor of love, and I feel really connected to each one of them. And I always, when I do sell them, even if it's the ones I have sold, I put in a little history behind it, what I learned through it. I make it more personal, but I always ask the commissioner if they ever want to get rid of it, just please send it back to me because I get pretty close to these. What was your question again? The art show. Yeah. I did an art show in San Francisco. It was fantastic. I got a lot of interest from it, if anything. And then here locally in my city, here in Sacramento, there are, every 2 or 3 months, there's sidewalk shows and fairs and galleries that local artists can participate in. And that's mostly where I started selling my art from those. And then it's word of mouth and
That's cool.
check out my Instagram, check out my stuff. So yeah.
I can't help but look behind you and see all your skim boards back there, or surfboards. Do you make boards as well? Is that something else you do?
That's something that wasn't as. Yeah, this is my workshop, but this is my wood workshop, and I do make these too. I haven't really pushed these much. It's kind of selling skim boards is a smaller market than selling art, and I found more.
You maybe need to go East Coast because, man, I can't find a damn skimboard around here. You can't find
Are you serious?
No, seriously, you can't. You can buy the cheapo plastic ones like at Ron John. They're hunks of crap. Or you can buy a Zap and you're spending like $1,000 on some competition level skimboard. I just want a nice skimboard, like a nice wooden skimboard. You can't even find them.
So,
well, I got plenty. I'll send you some.
Yeah, I'll hit you up, man.
So, Chris,
cool.
How many requests, commission requests do you receive where someone's like, I would like a painting of my wife, or not painting, but like I want a punch out collage.
I want Mike Tyson's
mosaic
punch out
of this, and then if they were going to ask you for that. Not to get into too much business, but it's like, what would you charge for something like that?
Sure. In fact, I got an email this morning. So I sell prints as well, it's a better price point, and you can get different sizes, and you can get it canvassed or matted or rolled canvas if you want to put a frame around it yourself. But usually off the website, I will get emails asking if I can do things, and I right now I'm getting a lot of portraits. Right now, I just launched the website, so I'm still learning of the time it takes for me to do these. Right now, I have 4 in the queue, so I have 4 ordered, and I just got a 5th one this morning. Each one of these takes me around a month, 2 months to create for the person. So I get, and the sizes, usually the 24 by 36 is about as small as I like to go. I can go a little smaller. The challenges I find with going smaller is I have to layer more hole punches on each other, and it gets kind of chunky with the glue, and the detail is lost, and it almost starts to look abstract or cartoonish. So it depends on what you want to get. If you want to get something pretty realistic, 24 by 36 is about as small as I'll go. And that really runs, around the $500 to $600 range. And I can play around with that with the size.
I think that's a value.
Chris, that's way too little.
Yeah, I agree. You got to take.
I thought you were going to say $10,000 to $15,000.
Oh no!
To those 5 people in queue right now, you are getting a bargain, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Chris, I will pay you to make a Tom and Dan.
I'll pay you more than that to make. We don't have a lot of money, but
for some art in the studio.
But you are way undervalued. That is
really okay.
I think. Don't you guys think?
That's sweet to hear.
I mean, Sam, you collect art. Doesn't that sound? That sounds reasonable to me. Like better than reasonable. If you said that to me, I'd be like, oh, gladly. Well, you're giving me a month to come up with $500 too.
Listen, I've been into trendy vegan restaurants and seen art on the wall.
Really?
It's an old pizza box with a tomato somebody painted on it. They want $700 for it.
Yeah. Like I've seen art.
I hope that person doesn't listen to our show.
By the way, any art gallery I've ever wandered into drunk, where they sat me down, I'm looking at some surfboard that someone painted, well, let
me ask you something.
A beach scene that's $1,100.
Let me ask you something. Does it make it better for you because you're not the average art guy, but after you hear his story, the way he talks about his paintings, the way he talks about his connection to them, what he learned on the journey, that's cool.
I will tell you, this kind of art makes more sense to me value-wise because the time in and the investment is literally
tedious.
There, right? You can't shortcut it, right?
There's no shortcutting this.
So it's like Chris
he's tweezering this dude
10,000 punch-outs made this thing you go up close, like you watch.
And he does research and gives you all the behind.
So it's
what it meant to him, why he did it in the first place.
He was doing it.
So like the value there is way more than, and not to take anything away from like an abstract artist, but when I see someone
I'll take something away from them, not
splatter
as cool.
some paint on, it's just like it's different to me, and that's just how my brain works. But I'm sure it's different for everybody because art is very subjective and personal to people. But this kind of thing is I could really get behind, and I'm impressed by because
we got a great question from the chat room. Christine, fellow artist, she's also a very accomplished painter. We have some of her art hanging within our studio right now. She wants to know that this is the passion. We can hear it. Do you have a real job?
I have a real job in which I have health benefits.
There you go.
Other things like that.
There you go.
I wish, but I'm okay with that because honestly, I don't. I love that this is my mistress. This is my side.
Yeah.
This is what wakes me up in the morning. You know what I mean? This is what I get excited about, and I want to find that fine line where I don't get up and feel like, oh, I have to do another one today.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, Chris.
So I found a balance with this.
Yeah. Well, if each one of those people were paying $1,000, I bet you'd feel a little better.
Listen, I've already, because I like to take someone's passion and turn it into business. I did it with Daniel, so he hates what he's doing, but it's his passion. I'm just trying to turn it into so much business.
He killed my passion
with business. Because I'm thinking already, Chris.
Alone.
Chris, we can get a dozen or so, in immigrant workers to put these together in some sort of giant warehouse.
What are you doing?
No, I'm just saying that and all you have to do is
he's musking out again, guys.
Yeah, Chris, you want some dots? I can get you dots. I got a bunch.
Oh boy.
And we could buy hole punches online, I think, and then we'll just buy them online, just get them shipping to this warehouse,
And we can
and then teach the immigrants to put the dots on there, the line of them.
I could also cut
You
your
pay
costs.
them $10 an hour.
What kind of tweezers are you using? Are you using expensive Mr. Tweezerman tweezers or are you using Revlon?
Tweezerman tweezers.
No,
That's
you gotta go
right.
Revlon. No, we gotta cut your costs. Tweezerman tweezers are way too expensive. I have a pair of them. They're like $40 for a pair of tweezers. We need to get you Revlon El Cheapo tweezers.
And then you start pumping these out
Yes.
to all the rich. Like we got to get into like.
No, you do that thing that everybody does on Facebook. It's stupid. Where you take a picture of somebody's dog and then you put a king's outfit on it.
Yes,
We
yes.
making these king dogs for everybody on king
You gotta
dogs.
get an influencer
Yeah.
to put one on their page.
Somebody's cat with a king outfit on.
What's interesting about the art business, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, Chris, but I'm sure you've seen like documentaries. What is it? Behind the
Through the gift shop, exit to the gift shop.
Exit through the gift shop, where they kind of Banksy kind of put together this documentary showing that art is so subjective, and you could hype up an artist, and people will go crazy and pay insane amounts of money. Rich people that don't, they're just like, I want that. He's the hottest thing, And
Let's hype up ChrisEvansArt.com.
Well,
get him some
Dude,
money.
you guys go for it.
No, I'll hit this
I'm
thing.
okay with it.
I'll hit this thing hard, but I honestly believe, and I hope this isn't insulting to you, you're charging so little for these things.
yeah. Like
It hurts my heart.
That's not the first time. That's not the first time I've heard that. Like I said, I only really started going public with this not even that long ago. So I'm just so happy that people are responding to it. I'm honestly humbled by it.
It's one of the only pieces of art that I've ever seen you go, oh my God.
like-
because we knew, his mind is different. So it gave instant art value because he knew you had to work your ass off to do that. And we were looking at the Robin Williams one, which is glorious. It is glorious.
How do they buy that and flip that?
No, I want it back. I am the first
He
seller
wants
back.
it back.
Hold on.
It's almost like NFTs. We have an NFT that I haven't talked about. But when we sell our NFT, I have it set up. The person that owns our NFT, if they buy it, when they sell it, you and I get 15% of what they get on top of it. That's the way it works. I'm not a dumb business baby. I'm learning from the big daddy over here. And it's hard for us to keep our alligators down.
So, Chris,
I just called you Big Daddy Business. I think.
That was weird.
That was weird. And sort of sexual.
So, like, I'm surprised, like that Bill Murray painting, you said someone, mosaic, someone bought from you. I'm surprised, like, if you put these up for auction, I'm surprised they're not commanding, like, tens of thousands of dollars just by putting it up on some art website. I'm sure there's art auction websites all over the country. Like, do you have to, do some sort of a lottery system to get into those? How do you even get into some of the big art auctions?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I haven't researched it that far yet. Really, right now it's just word of mouth. And 2020 was difficult because they shut all the art galleries down, and people weren't able to go out and view local art, which is mostly what I do. So I haven't really been online other than just starting my website and the TikTok for getting my stuff out in the country. It's just really been word of mouth. I do plan on going this summer up to Lake Tahoe and doing one of those art fairs and showing my stuff out there. I think that might be a good avenue.
I think it's a great idea.
Maybe a whole different class of people that might enjoy putting stuff on their walls.
Chris, do you know other people in the world that do this?
No, and I have got online. Now, the biggest reason I started my TikTok was about 2 months ago. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw somebody using paper hole punches as a mosaic, and that lit a fire under me because I knew it was the amount of time before that somebody was going to figure it out. Now, she had done the Ripped magazines to make collages and mosaics, but she stumbled on the paper hole punches, and that's when I decided I needed to get my stuff out there. So there's only one other person that I know in in the world that does, and she's and it's beautiful. She did the tiger, and it's about 8 by 12, and it's a beautiful tiger. And she used magazines and color. But other than that, I haven't been able to find anybody who does mosaics like this.
Huh.
Yeah,
we got to get a piece while it's still cheap, guys.
I can see this guy's slot machines just rolling.
I'm just thinking, Chris.
I know what you're
yeah. Could you do this with Legos? Like.
I've seen Legos. It's almost like the Rubik's Cube, where.
Wait, are you going to hire this guy to build and do actual Minecraft with your sons?
No. I'm
just. I was going to say that would be pretty cool.
I'm just thinking that, man, there's like people will pay like big money for art pieces. It gets into insane stuff where like
you could put these up as NFTs right now.
You start hitting like
then you don't have to sell the original.
6-figure art pieces. And Chris, I'm sure you know a little bit of the art business, but I watched this documentary on Netflix about art, and they went over all these different artists and like how the business goes and whatever. And the people.
Oh, is it about that counterfeit lady at all?
No, this was just about like all the like abstract artists, different styles of artists, and then what the business is like. And then they show some of them that just hit it, like I guess, and got their name out there and that became popular. And their pieces are commanding 6 figures. So they'll do a piece every 6 months or whatever, and then sell it for $280,000 or whatever, at some auction, and then they'll fund their life like that, and they'll just create art. But that's you hit it right,
yeah.
And they'll be eventual millionaires from this, and they can make as much money as they want, right? Because they've got their name, and in fact, it benefits them to do less amount of art because it makes the value more, right? So
supply
it's like
demand, sure.
The less you work, the more money your art will get.
God, I wish that was the case for us.
So, what is that like next? Is it just being, I guess if your TikTok went viral, or if one of these like videos you created got 10 million views, then you'll start getting some phone calls? Like, do you know what's that like breakthrough period, or what it takes to break into the real big art business?
Right. I experienced the TikTok, and the Robin Williams is the only viral one I've had, and I had a lot of interest on send me to your website, which is why I made it. And I haven't had any. I've had emails for personal commission ones off the website, but nothing to buy. I think it's getting the art to the right. I think it's really who you know and the right people that see it, to be honest with you. And from the mentors that I have followed locally, that I consider fantastic artists that have been doing it for a long time, they just keep reminding me, hold tight to your price, hold tight to the art, and inevitably it will blow up eventually. So I'm just trying to keep plugging along with the smaller commission ones I have, but I think it's who you know, or whose eyes see it first.
Yeah, there are some people I bet that are discovered. I mean, I see it a lot more so in music, but I do consume a lot more music than I do art. But there's a particular country singer, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but he's an older black guy, and this guy's been a journeyman, let's say blues singer for his entire life.
Yeah,
he has a particular sound. He starts working with Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. Is interjected with maybe a little more youthful energy. They twist a few things. This guy puts out a record. Next thing you know, he blows up, and he's been doing it for 50 years. You know what I mean? Like, there are things like that happen just because, life gets in the way. Who knows? But
Chris, last question for you. But I mentioned like buying the hole punches because I'm sure there's somewhere in the world online that you could buy
bags of them from like companies that need
or newspaper. Some sort of like newspaper printing press. They punch holes in something, and then they have like all these bags, and then they thought like maybe someone will sell it, or like maybe there's some sort of newspaper company that has bags of holes that they just dump in the trash. And
it's what they do at donut places.
Do you feel like if you purchased those or got those, that's taking away from the process, because part of the process is doing it by hand, punching every hole?
Absolutely not. I do not like paper hole punching. It is the worst part of the process. So if anybody wants to send me paper hole punches, in fact, I'll go around the city to the shipping stores like FedEx or UPS, because they do collate. they'll give me their paper hole punches. Also, from a few of the shows, like elementary school teachers, they've come up to me and say, "Hey, I got a bunch of hole punches. Would you like them?"
Awesome.
So I am all for that. Now, if I do, I found with more structures, like I did the Amalfi Coast, there's no getting around taking the single hole punch and looking for certain shapes and colors. So that part I can never not do that part. But just for the mass quantity, no, that's totally fine. I will take any paper hole punch anybody wants to send
awesome.
me.
I
will not miss that.
I have 3 red hole punches on my desk. I will put them in an envelope. And
Just get Butler to start punching
I
holes.
only have 3, and they're very specific. They are Tom and Dan red. What do you call that? Winner's red.
Yeah.
Tom and Dan, winner's red. And I'll send you the 3 hole punches. Man, hey, thanks so much for being on the show and taking the time.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it very much.
You are extremely, extremely talented, man.
Yes.
And Tom, serious.
Thank you.
I'm going into the commission queue.
Yeah. What's
Especially now while it's a reasonable price.
What's your website again, Chris, so people can check it
out? ChrisEvansArt.com.
All right.
ChrisEvansArt.com.
Perfect. Well,
That's
Chris, it was awesome talking to you, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon or see you when you're stinking rich.
Yeah, man. Get rich.
Oh, thank you very much, guys.
We'll see you soon. Take care.
See ya.
That guy's way talented.
Yeah. This just
Cool dude.
okay. You know
It's
how,
bothering you, isn't it?
Well, you know how I believe I could do anything.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Yeah, and it's foolish. But the one thing that I can't do, and no matter what amount of time, training, anything, is this kind of thing. The art,
art is.
I'm not even joking. If you said, "All right, I'll give you $10 billion if you could either successfully do a brain surgery, right, over with years of training, right, and just get through some sort of removing a brain tumor. I don't know what the hell the brain surgery you do, or create this Robin Williams thing. I'd go brain surgery, because that makes more sense to me as far as if I just trained all the steps, each step, I could eventually do it. With this, I can't see it. I can't even understand it.
I don't even think he might even know why or how he can do it. It seems
his brain works differently.
I think that's just easy for him.
Yeah, he sees it
because his explanation. I loved his explanation of how I was looking through a magazine, not inebriated, completely sober by the way, which is weird. I would need to be inebriated. I found a picture I liked, and I said, "Hey, that's a great photo. I wonder if I can duplicate that using little pieces of paper." That's crazy.
But he's seeing it. He's visualizing it as he does it, and then he gets to a point where the end result is a perfectly sized and
he can just size things up with his brain.
I mean, the Bill Murray's facial structure is exactly perfect. You know, like a photograph. Anyway,
well, check him out, ChrisEvansArt.com. We'll bye.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler is not here. Our toilet is broken.
Oh man, I think Butler did it.
If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see Michael Wanzi, and we don't need to introduce him really. You know who he is.
Yeah.
Super talented, super funny. But here, I just want to get Wanzi to weigh in on something for a second. Butler was supposed to fix the toilet. He was supposed to swing by Home Depot and get the guts for the toilet, and then bring them in the morning. But he didn't do it because he's consistently getting high on the marijuana before he comes to work. So what would you say, Michael, to our young? You've met Butler before, right? A young, good-looking boy.
Yes. Uh-huh.
We have a younger.
He's older than I am.
He is older than I am, but he looks younger than you. Oh, he's here. He's here.
Yes.
He's here. But what would you say to him?
Screw the toilet.
All right.
Fix the turlet. You got to fix the turlet. Michael, what's going on, man? How you been?
Well, I'm all right now. Now that the Fringe Festival is coming and I have something to do, I really I lost all my performing gigs during the pandemic, and the dinner theater I worked, Sluice, closed down for a while. The Parliament House closed and then eventually got torn down, and I lost my theater. So that was my home theater for almost 40 years.
Sure.
Through 3 sets of owners. That's where I premiered my shows. So it's been a sucky year, and it's full of like, you cannot believe how many people I know who died this past year. It was just like relentless.
Yeah.
Just one person after another. I had so much loss. It was really like getting ready to slip into depression. And finally, they announced they were going to have the Fringe Festival this year because it got canceled last year. And so dove into doing my show, and now I feel better.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's and I'm glad you mentioned that though, because it's kind of.
I'm just laughing because of Onesie so dry. I'm glad you asked because I was in this whole thing. It's just one thing. It sucks. And the past year has sucked, well, Michael.
But he's bringing us something important, because as a performer, as a writer, as a producer, as somebody who likes to normally your normal, like your natural environment to me in meeting you is you doing something to make people laugh, doing something to make people smile. And if you're not doing that, then occasionally you'll dip your toe into making people think. Okay?
Right.
I think that's pretty fair. But so how are you, like, how do you find, like, courage or whatever to even try to tell a story again after this type of thing? Because we've been doing it in here. I have to just kind of shut it out and just come in here and use this as sort of my therapy. Do you do that as well?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Rehearsal is my therapy. So for you, it's just getting on with the business of putting on your show. Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I did though early on is I wrote a play specifically. Not just to, a lot of people started like reading plays online or showing films of plays that they'd already produced online. I wrote a show where the premise of the show was actually a Zoom call. And the actors in it were in different states and cities, and the director was in another town. But it was written to be a family reunion Zoom call, and I marketed that, and it did really, really well, and we all made a nice chunk of change. Nice. And it was one of the few things that you could watch where you didn't feel you were missing anything because it wasn't being done in a different format. It was written for that format.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I got creative in that way.
That's I mean, Michael, like, I feel everybody had to pivot, and like we've talked to a bunch of performers, whether it's comedians, bands, musicians that have had to, like, they started doing Zoom and trying to figure out, like, can I do this a different way?
And some people can and some people can't. We've had comedian buddies of ours like Carmen Morales, who she hit it out of the park and did very well with her she had a Social D is what she called it, Social D comedy, and it became like a brand, and it did really, really well. And then we've had other people that come in and say, that's not me. I can't do that. I have to be outside. I have to be in front of real people.
Can't do it that way, and can't do it without an audience responding. It's difficult. Yeah. And but speaking to that, one of the things I am proud of over the last year is suddenly we started to realize I'm lucky because I'm older than Christ's underwear. So I had taken early retirement Social Security, and just before this happened, without knowing this was going to happen, and it's I don't know what it would. I'd be living under I-4 in a box had I done that, because my Social Security is what's not enough to live on, but at least seeing me through.
Sure.
But I just was hearing from all friends who were like having to give up their apartments and move out of state and to go live with relatives because they lost their performing gig at Disney or Universal or Orlando Shakespeare Theater or whatnot. And it was really getting to the point where we were having, unbeknownst to the general public, we were having this exodus of talent that was leaving our area. And we thought, well, we got to do something. So my friends Kenny Howard and Rick Sharon and I, we did a webathon. And we got all these people to perform live. We did this really, really early on before it became a thing. It was like Rosie O'Donnell and Seth Rudetsky and us. Anyway, we did this webathon, and it was about 3.5 hours long, and we raised $7,000.
Nice.
And so we just started handing out $100 gifts without any question to anyone who just wrote and said they needed the money. That sense is parlayed into all of the heads of all the big theater companies and groups and whatnot have all come together, and now we've made an actual permanent charity called GOPAR, Greater Orlando Performing Arts Relief, and we've helped dozens and dozens of people pay their rent, pay their car payment, keep their phone on.
That's awesome.
Whatever. And for a new charity begun during the pandemic, I think it's pretty outstanding that we've raised over $100,000 now.
Oh my God! Congratulations, man! That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think I remember that you guys were pulling in some pretty heavy hitters from Broadway, weren't you?
We had been involved in producing From Broadway with Love for Orlando, which was where all the Broadway stars who came down and performed at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts for the Pulse survivors and their families, to do something feel good for them and raise some money for the One Pulse Foundation and whatnot. So we had been personally involved with a bunch of Broadway stars related to that, and so we were able to we did these telethons every week for about 3 months, and we had all kinds of Broadway stars. As a matter of fact, Seth Rudetsky, who is known as Mr. Broadway, he hosts a thing called Stars in the House every night, and they raise money for the Actors Fund of America, and we got a hold of him, and one night just before Christmas they did the show and had myself on with all the Broadway stars who ever started in Orlando, and there's quite a few.
Yeah.
And so it was a big reunion of Orlando-born Broadway stars and me, and he raised $7,000 in just that 1 hour show.
That's crazy. So, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's important. I mean, with the pandemic, it was getting to the point where, like, well, when the pandemic's over, we're not going to have any actors left in town to come back to the stage.
Right. Well, let's get to that, because Sam and I were looking at, and I knew you were doing a big Friends show, and I knew that it was coming up. I knew that it was maybe a little more adult, maybe a little crazier, maybe a little spicier than normal. I was interested in it, and then Sam, you told me are you doing more than one show, Michael?
You've at least written more than one, correct?
Well, not for this year. This is the only one I'm doing this year.
Oh, because the one that I have here is I'll let you tell Tom about it, because here, and I'll hand this to you. Just look at some of the topics that are covered within this particular new production by Wanzi. Wanzi, what's it called? And I want to see Tom's eyes.
It's called "It All Started at the Radisson Inn." It's
a sexual comedy, Tom.
A somewhat fictional account of, based though upon my real life experiences, and so it is about the party drug ecstasy, and it involves master slave role play, foot fetishism.
All right.
These are all things Tom's into.
Emotional meltdown. It's all in there. It's a broad comedy that will also make a lot of people cry, which is sort of my roller coaster writing brand that I'm known for.
I like that.
Some tears, laughter through tears sort of thing. But basically, it's a story of, my shows at Fringe are usually big set pieces and lavish costumes, and like Monorail Inferno had 18 people in it. This is just 3 people. And basically, in a nutshell, there's a straight guy. His name is Brett. He's just finishing up a convention, and he's at the Radisson Inn. And he's waiting for the elevator, and there's a door open to a suite down the hall, and he can hear this music blaring, and he goes to check it out, and it's basically a rave that's happening for this gay guy is throwing in his suite. And he slips in, and turns out he and the gay guy named Connor bond over doing ecstasy together. And Connor has a master slave role play fetish thing going on, and he likes to do, especially when he's rolling, and he has a foot fetish, and there's other things involved. And anyway, the two of them really become friends, and they start meeting on a regular basis to have these sessions. However, Brett, the straight guy, is engaged to be married to Julie, who is the third character. And luckily, Julie has to go take care of her sick mother in another state for a while, and Connor ends up moving in with her fiance without her knowing it. Then she shows up unexpectedly, and finds out about the situation, and then all hell breaks loose.
All right. So there you go.
And that's as much as you need to know.
I know what you're going to ask, but go ahead.
Well, I got a couple questions.
That sounds awesome,
Michael.
by the way.
Well, I'm
Sam, would you like to accompany me to that?
Yes, I would.
Oh, by the way, Gold Venue, I believe it starts on the 21st. 9:45 is the first time, I believe, that I think that's correct. That's the first time you can see it.
Yes, yep. As a matter of fact, we have great ticket sales, but very few for our opening night for some strange reason. So we'd love, if you come on opening night, you can come meet the cast afterwards in the Flamingo Lounge, which is, there's a vendor lawn at Fringe where there's a beer tent and
It's
wine
awesome.
and whatnot. I have my own tent where I set up my own cocktail lounge.
Nice.
It's Flamingo Lounge. I don't sell liquor, and you're not allowed to bring your own liquor in, but I do for opening night, and we give out free lemon drop shots to anyone who
man.
comes to opening night.
It's fun,
on
man.
Friday the 21st at 9:45. But there's 7 shows of it through a night and day, weekends, weeknights throughout the 15-day festival. And if you're interested in tickets, it's really easy. It's Orlando Fringe, FRINGE.org.
Yep.
OrlandoFringe.org. Click on look at the program, then alphabetical list things, and mine will come up under I for It All Started at the Radisson.
Yep, find that one. Gold Venue, again, opens on the 21st. But if you've never been to Fringe, it's very...
Buy the pass.
Yeah,
it's
Go
going
to
to
all
be
the
crazy
shows.
this year because people are dying to
People
get,
are
to
craving
get out
for
here.
it.
Yeah, dare I say that's probably why you don't have a lot of tickets left, is because people want that opening night. They're like sick of being inside.
It is.
I'm ready.
Normally, people don't. Pre-sales are very minimal,
Right.
Because it's not unusual for me to be at opening day of the festival and only have sold 30 or 40 tickets. And right now, my pre-sales are close to 300. So people clearly are anxious to get back, and the theaters are being sat with some COVID safety issues in mind. They're not allowing every seat to be filled. They've got cardboard cutouts of people in seats to still make it look like a real audience. But so the actors have to have masks on. Ours are clear, so you can see their whole face.
Oh, that's cool.
And the audience have to have masks on. But if you've never been before, it's a wonderful event. You pay $10 to get a Fringe button, which you can also get at OrlandoFringe.org. And the button is your entry to the festival that doesn't actually have like a gate or anything. And then you buy tickets for the individual shows you want to see. 100% of the ticket money goes back to the artist and not to the festival. But you can't get in with a ticket unless you have a button on.
Yeah, see how that works? Like buttons for them, tickets for them.
Right,
It's worked out so well, though, and it is cool that like he brings up the best part of this is that the money does go to the man who wrote the show. You know what I mean? Like I love that.
And we're gonna have
to be a true Fringe festival. The criteria is that it has to be non-juried, which means that you put your name into a lottery every year because there's more people who want to do shows than there are spaces available. So it's by lottery, and no one at Fringe has read your play. So it has to be unjuried so that it can't be some snobby person saying, "Oh, I'm not going to let Michael Wanzi do this show that's about master slave role play."
Right.
So no one's making any decisions. It's strictly a lottery. So it has to be unjuried, has to be uncensored. So you get a lot of nudity at Fringe. You get a lot of adult language, a lot of adult situations. And the third thing is that 100% of the ticket price has to go back to the arts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it a Fringe festival.
Yeah, I love it.
And we're doing Fringe Week next week. We're having tons of performers.
Next week's gonna be hard for us because we're gonna have people coming and zooming and all over the place.
And so, Michael, I want to ask you about Parliament House because I know you.
Rest in peace, right?
Yeah.
Man, that bummed me out.
It did bum me out too, and I swore. And
I've never been. I never got to go.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! You never saw a show there?
No.
Banished from the city.
I know.
I mean, like honestly, if you can't make it now, and I'm not exaggerating. If you can't, obviously you can't make it now, but if you never got to go, you really did
blew it.
You missed out on something super awesome, man.
Well, Michael, I swear aware that when I first heard about Parliament House closing, I thought it was going to be a Wally scenario, and follow me here, because when Wally's announced their closing, like there was a huge push to like save Wally's, it's an Orlando staple. Then
multiple friends I've reached out about the Parliament House, and I thought they were doing something.
So then someone bought it, revamped it, and now it still exists. And it seemed to me like a brilliant marketing ploy by the owner or whatever to like say they're closing, get a huge push that would cause potential buyers, or they had a buyer and they knew they were going to do this like an extreme marketing push, and then now obviously it continues to live. I thought that same. I was like, oh, that's what they're doing with Parliament House. Like hey, it's going to freak everybody out. Like, we got to save it.
What did happen?
Someone's going to come in and buy it, and then they're going to do it was a big marketing push, and it'll be in Orlando because it's an Orlando
iconic.
staple, iconic place. So what do you, I mean, I don't know if you could, like, what happened? Sorry. That's how I ask questions.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's the longest what happened I've ever
Hold on. That's why he's a writer. There's the shirt. It's the longest what happened I've ever heard.
Sorry.
Well, to be truthful, the community is bewildered ourselves. It's sort of a mixed bag of feelings. Don and Susan, who bought the place in December of '99, and immediately dumped $1.2 million into renovating it and cleaning it up, and brought it back to life. And not only were good stewards of the Parliament House, but became one of the most philanthropic people in the gay community.
Sure.
And neither of them being gay, they gave. Constantly gave their theater over to fundraisers, and then would match the funds raised with a donation. I mean, they were incredible. They're the reason we have a gay, we have this huge gay pride thing. They kicked it off when we were starting it with the $10,000 donation. I mean, they were amazing people. They employed me for about 5 years as a manager of the theater, and were very good to me. Every deal we ever had was on a handshake, and they made good on every deal we ever struck. And we were producing partners for years, and I just love them. But none of us can understand what happened mismanagement wise with money, because the place was an absolute gold mine. And I don't know. It took a turn, quite frankly, when they eventually all of their children from Canada came down and ended up working there. And one son in particular was being groomed to be the manager, but he was never there at night. And so I don't know how he knew what was best when he only worked during the day, when it was an evening place.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something went terribly awry with financing, and in fact, you think it was like a ploy, but it wasn't. It seemed like every 6 months for the last 4 years they were under threat of foreclosure. They actually went into receivership at one point, and all the bank people were on property, and very few people come out of receivership, but they managed to get out from under it, and so they were squeaking by with paying the piper, and then the pandemic hit, and they were closed for several months, and then even when they did open up, the numbers never came back, and that was their death knell.
Sure.
But I would think, and Michael, I'm sure you thought about this, and other people there would be a person that would come in and buy the place just to save it, to continue it.
Or I always thought somebody would buy it and make it even larger, because it.
Yeah, there's a lot of rich people that look at like a place like that, like you said, it was always busy. It was a staple in Orlando. It could get bigger, through social media and just the amount of tourism that we have.
Become like the only. I don't know if it's the only, but like the let's say the top dog,
like the Mecca
destination gay resort. Who wouldn't want to own that? I would want to own that.
You could expand it, make more hotels. It seems like
it was a lot. Yeah, it was the largest gay lesbian resort in the world.
Right.
120 overnight guest rooms, acres of stuff to do: a beach, a volleyball court, 5 bars and a restaurant and a theater, a legitimate theater.
Yeah. It was a great theater.
Yeah, but a couple of things: the tangle of mess of various people who had liens on it and whatnot was troublesome to navigate, and if I understand correctly, it ended up being taken over by one of those lenders who specializes in commercial developments, and they immediately tore it down to make it clear that they weren't going to maintain it as what it was. So I think if the timing were different, if it weren't happening in the middle of a pandemic,
right,
I think what you suggested, Tom, would have happened.
Yeah.
But given the nature of the beast, timing wise, nobody was anxious to do that.
It just probably, I thought about that too, because I remember it happening during the pandemic. I was like, man, it's just like the perfect storm of bad luck, and like you said, it seems like the owners are awesome people and did so much for the community. And a lot of times when you see that and you see people that are super charitable and care more about people than they do about money, sometimes the business side things fall apart or fall to the wayside, and it's just a shame that happened, because man, I wish someone
you can feel the
would have just come in and bought it and kept it, because I just when they tore it down, I really did feel like a piece of our community, like a heritage
history of our
city was like
you can
tarnished.
Feel it. You can feel that it's not here, and the fact
as a matter of fact, the Orange County Orlando History Museum came and very carefully dismantled the sign, and they have it, and it will be part of their permanent collection because they consider the sign to be a historical landmark. So that little piece has been saved.
Wanzi, what I'm hearing though, hold on.
It was never the area, though. It was all the people there, and you can feel that it's not operating. You can feel it in the air that it's not operating.
I just got it. Tom and Dan's Big Gay Resort. We started here, and we started a new one. We get Wanzi to run the entertainment.
Are you crazy? I would do it right now.
Hold on, I know millionaire friends. I got to call the other day.
I'm still
I
working
can get some investors.
My mom's dead, and I could use her money to buy a gay resort. This is awesome.
Our branding is already somehow gay. Like we've already determined
People already think we're gay, and then so we're like, fine, we're gay. We're opening the biggest gay resort. We're bringing it back, baby.
We have Wanzi.
Well, there is one upside to it, is that suddenly every other gay bar in town is completely full every night.
There you go. Yeah.
But I mean, Wanzi, there is a market for a big gay resort, right? I mean, like,
absolutely.
Do they have? Is there anything like that?
The reason I know that is because when we had a big gay resort, I would go there. And I'm straight. So there's a market for it. Because it was all about, to me, it was all about it was like having a tiny Fringe Festival open at all times, because you got that cool, uncensored entertainment that's live on the stage. You got that stuff that pushed the envelope a little bit, and you don't really get that at a no offense to any other theater, they're great theaters, but I always liked that you were going out for like an adult evening.
And my wife did a bachelorette party, and I know that was popular. So she did at
I just like going
House.
to get a drink there. And Tom and I, we go to when we were working for Orlando City, we used to like to go to Stonewall. And because you walk over right across the street and try to see the merman in the tank. And then we drink. We would get drunk before we did our announcements.
I just feel like having like something like the Parliament House.
That's the business side of you. Well, they're not going to try and bring anything back. That ship has sailed.
No, actually they are. They're out shopping around. I mean, it won't have accommodations attached to it, but they've looked at a couple of places on Church Street. I know that just the other day they were seen with a realtor walking into the M Lounge in Ivanhoe Village. I think they're eyeing that. They own the name. They retain the rights to the name, and I think that they're of the mindset that they're going to open another bar, but it will be a bar and perhaps a showroom. They won't.
Gotcha.
You won't get to play balcony bingo is the issue.
Yeah.
Do you know what that is, Tom?
No, I do not.
Well, balcony bingo is, the hotel part of it was motel style, where your door opens up to the outside.
Yeah.
And they were long, narrow buildings, 2 stories, and it's kind of a little bit like Pac-Man, where the things run around all the little corridors, and every now and then someone comes out and eats you. People in the early days, it got started that people would rent a room, and then if you were of the mindset that you wanted company, you left your curtain opened a little bit so people could look in and see the goods, and you tapped on the door, and the person would look out, and if they liked you, they'd open it up and let you in and close the curtain, and you get some business done, or leave the curtain open so others could enjoy the show. But that was called balcony bingo.
Wow, that was like a reality grinder. They look at your window, you're like, I'm swiping. You give a hand signal. You're like, keep on moving, or you're like, come in.
Nah, I think you.
Man, I wish I was gay, because all this sounds way more fun than my life right now. I balcony bingo. I literally balcony bingo every weekend.
Yeah, every weekend, a cold beer and a little balcony bingo.
Yeah. God.
Back when I first came here in the 70s, it was, people still lost their jobs for being gay. People were thrown out of apartments for being gay. People were harassed by the police for being gay. So people were obviously not always open in the place of employment of being gay. I worked at Disney, and at Disney, you might be gay, but people didn't let their management know, and because it's still a very conservative company back then. So in the employee cafeteria, if you wanted to ask your gay friend if they were going to the Parliament House tonight, you would ask them if they were going to Pizza Hut. And Pizza Hut was code for Parliament House, so that anyone else hearing the conversation would know you're talking about going to the Parliament House. And then the Sunday tea dance, which was a staple of the Parliament House, afternoon, basically like an evening's and a worth of entertainment on a Sunday afternoon. It was called tea dance. And if you wanted to know if someone was going to go to tea dance, you asked them, were they going to church on Sunday? And if you were gay and you were asking someone if they were going to church on Sunday, it was known that you were asking them were they going to tea dance at the Parliament House.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
Wandy, it's crazy that
sad that you guys had to have code words. I just want to hang with my buddies. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
That was back in the days when people would drive through the parking lot with guns and shoot. Which happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah, it's insane. And I know, Wanzi, I know we've talked about that before.
Come a long way.
When you talk to younger gay people and then they have no idea of
it's not their reality
of how hard you had it in the 70s, like how different. I mean, I remember the 90s was bad. And how different it is, and it is. I do appreciate how where we are now, but we need to go further. Wanzi, real quick before we leave, how much did you laugh when Little Nas X did that music video? Because it blew some cowboy hats off, and I laughed and laughed because everybody was so mad about it.
I loved it,
and it was
he's giving a lap dance to Jesus.
Yeah,
and some people stirred up.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And I laughed that it still bothered people that much because I was like, it's 2020, but I forget. I just don't run in the circles of.
I will say what made me
ultra conservative cowboys.
We're not those guys.
Whenever you drag Jesus into it, it's a little bit more tough than just gay alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. We have a very special guest on the line. Anything to plug before we get to him, my friend?
We can plug the coloring books.
We have a coloring book with 50 plus pages of original art from Eric Pabon and our good friend Eddie Bass, and you can pick that up at tomanddan.com. It's under the merch section, and 100% of all the cash goes to the YBR Foundation. That's Yellow Brick Road, to help children with congenital heart defects, and it's kind of help us help get back the money that we lost because of COVID, because normally we do our fundraisers, but when you can't see people, you can't do fun stuff, and this will really help out. So just go to tomanddan.com under the merch section and look for the coloring book.
And Eddie and Eric donated their time and art to this.
Absolutely.
Vintage Paper Company helped us print these.
Yeah, Mark and his crew over there did a great job.
So, and all to help raise as much money as possible. So
indeed.
It's up for sale right now on tomanddan.com, and every order, we haven't announced this yet, and it's embarrassing. Maybe I shouldn't say the mag nuts.
Well, don't say it with the guest on the line.
Okay. The mag nuts are
embarrassing. Let's ask our guest. On the line with us right now, Tony Roberts, Tony T. Roberts, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 show Sunday, theimprovorlando.com to get your tickets. What's up, man? How are you?
How y'all doing, man?
Good. Tony, how many shows have you done since things have kind of opened back up? Obviously, we've been talking to comedians that have come through the Improv, and most of them live in California, and we start explaining to them how open Florida's been compared to what their lives have been. It blows our minds.
Some say reckless and crazy. We just use the term. We just go with open. We're just open.
Yeah. So when did you start touring again, Tony?
Last October.
Wow. Okay. So backing up.
Yeah, because there's a lot of clubs in the South and on the East Coast that's really more loose than California. So it's not a lot of clubs.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know that some comedians started in October and last summer because like places like Florida and the South and, it was kind of all over the place and everybody was doing their own thing. Yeah. So how many shows, like you started in October, but I'm sure it was limited and there was like a limited amount of venues that were even, doing stand-up, right?
40%. 40% capacity. It was 1 show a night. It was everything was discounted. The comedians, we wanted to get out there so bad. Our agents explained to us like it ain't gonna be the same money for a minute, at least to the turn of the year.
Right.
Get back swing of things. So we just took it to stay warm, to stay working. Because when we can't go nowhere. So a lot of times when we first started the pandemic, the virtual shows was popping almost every week. I was doing 3 a night.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. Everybody wanted to just tune in. And it's hard to tell the jokes and you can't see nobody or hear the laughs. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's like I was for a bigger show. I was like auditioning for myself.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And Tony, for a stand-up, like say you were an NBA player, right? And obviously when the pandemic hit, there was no games. They shut down the NBA, but you could still, I feel, get your reps in on your own personal practice court, your own personal gym. You got your trainers. You can, get real-time reps in, keep
you could probably work
game
on some,
shape.
Yeah, you can work on things that you are necessary in your world every single day.
And I know there's nothing like for basketball that really replicates like actual playing and game shape and being and
the energy
and that, but still it's close. But with the stand-up and doing stand-up, you need the crowd to keep game shape, right?
Well, you know what? I learned to do without the crowd because I did morning radio and I was the voice of San Francisco, the entire Bay, for like 2 years. And that taught me how to be funny without the crowd. So I just excelled when it came to the pandemic and working and doing the jokes. It was bananas. It was bananas. I loved it.
So that's interesting because you learned in radio and like talk radio or whatever, you're just talking, especially the people that do it by themselves.
We know a couple of those guys, and sometimes I forget that that's sort of maybe why it didn't seem so weird for us during the pandemic, because we work without. We just kind of do a thing, and then like there's and that has sometimes you come home and you're like, I don't even know what I did today because I didn't get anything back. Like it's better. I feel like sometimes at least when you have that comedy, you have that live audience. At least if you bombed, right? I'm just feeling like I bombed in my brain.
Yeah, you can go home and in radio because like you said, you don't have no crowd, no response. You can think you're just the funniest man alive, and then you just sucking. You just the worst. You don't know it. At least it's better thing.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you think about basically where we're headed as far as the culture and the fact that we seemingly, and like how popular TikTok is getting, and how like things are getting shorter and more diluted, and like people want things and faster, like rotation,
tiny increments,
and
too.
tiny increments and things. Like it seems like attention spans getting smaller and stuff. And like, do you feel like, because you've been doing it for so long, like the future of stand-up is going to be shorter? Do you think it's going to change? Do you think like everything has changed? Do you think the hour is going to become a half an hour and that's going to be the new hour? Like, do you think that you need the hour to get a full experience? What do you think? Where's this going?
I believe that this pandemic showed everybody that people that really made a lot of money and really got big on the pandemic was like Netflix and everybody that streamed shows, because they were crowded with more subscribers than they ever had. So they realized you don't have to even go out. A lot of people are going to realize you don't even have to go out no more to have a good time. People want to get out. I'd rather be out. I'd rather go to the movies. I'd rather go to dinner. But a lot of people are so comfortable now. I'd rather go to work than stay at home. But a lot of people now are going to stay home and work it. They're going to want to stay home permanently. They're going to want to stay and stream shows instead of going out. And they're going to Grubhub and DoorDash, because a lot of people really don't want to go back out. And then just pandemic has proved you can live without going out now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there were some people that never liked going out to begin with and kind of were forced to by society. And like, basically, everybody's like, why are you staying at home? You're a weirdo, and then now pandemic is like, stay at home. And then I feel there's going to be a lot of people who are like, I'm never going back. Like now it's kind of acceptable and people like are fine with me staying home. They're like, oh, he's playing it safe, but they're basically going to imprison themselves in their own, like, hey, I'm not gonna have any more human interaction.
We made it better for him too, Like, now, Tony, what does your family think, and how did you handle that with the family? Is everybody totally cool with you going back out, or did you have to have a discussion, or is it like, hey, this is my job, you know what we signed up for?
They asked me, when you leaving again? Let me tell you, I got me and my wife's sister and her husband, my in-laws, and their kids and my kids. It's 9 people in my house. And we had to get a bigger house. I call it a compound. Wow. So we got like bedrooms. We got 5 bathrooms. We live all together and we close. So during the pandemic, we had enough people in our family to play Family Feud and with a host. We played board. We had the kids doing virtual learning, and then each parent take turns teaching them stuff. I give them an acting class every day. It was crazy, man. So, and I'm bringing the whole family down to Florida. We leaving, all of us, all 9 of us leaving. Soon I finish this, we're going out to Orlando. We'll be there the whole weekend. My family, and we do it all. We got the pool with our because we've been running around kicking it.
Yeah, well, if you ever need a theme park guide, we got a guy, Sam.
Tony.
We got a guy for Tony that can run you around and show you all the best little tips and tricks if you need it.
Since the pandemic, have your whole family been to Florida?
No, just me and my kid, my wife, and my 3 kids and my wife. We've been there. We was in Miami about a month ago, and the pandemic wasn't even existing.
No,
it was like,
no.
Oh, well, listen.
Miami's wide open.
Here's the thing. I have my friends from Miami came up here, and it blew their minds how open we were. They were like, whoa, we're way more locked down. So it's all
kind
relative.
Depends where you go.
It's all subjective.
Miami's tighter than us. Like Tony, I don't know if you've been here recently.
Not now, though.
Yeah.
Right now, I walk around here, and people we're open, no mask, frolicking, running through the streets, happy.
Spitting in each other's mouths.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's all subjective of where you are. So it's like, people from California, they go to Miami, they're like, oh my God, this is open. And then my Miami friends come here and they're like, wow, this is way more open. Like I'm sure if you go to some places in Texas or outside of our city, and then it's literally 2018 again. It's 100%. You can't even tell there's a pandemic. Well, Tony, again, we're telling everybody, Go get your tickets. Two shows tonight.
2 shows Saturday, 1 show on Sunday. The Improv.orlando.com is how you get your tickets. Man, thanks so much, and hopefully we'll get you in here so we can have a regular discussion.
Yeah, some things you can't do virtually. We got to open up the strip clubs. Got to come back. They got to be back.
Oh, they're open here.
Oh, wow. Well, you might want to leave the kids at the hotel and come see old Tom and Dan because we got some spots.
Oh, yeah.
All right, fellas.
All right, man.
Take
We'll
it
see
easy,
you
Tony.
soon. Take care. That is Tony Roberts on a weird disconnected Zoom call.
Yeah. Right
He's a
up.
good-
You know
a
what's
good
odd
guy. He's
is
a
because
good
also
guy.
last week we were supposed to have Kevin Smith, but I wasn't here, so the show went to hell. But
Yeah.
the celebrities you would think would have better internet, right?
Well, he's got 9 people in his house. They're pulling on that. They're pulling on that. internet.
Just because, like,
He's got his kids. They're
Have
got
the best,
His wife's
right?
watching Invincible. His kids playing. He's on Twitch beating us. He's beating our numbers by 15,000. His kids playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Then you got it is. just
How is
sucks.
our connection better? Is
Samantha,
my question.
listen.
And we don't even pay for the big dog internet. You want to know why? True story. Because Big Daddy Plants over here won't let me get at the time it was 300, and he made me set up for 150.
Oh my God!
I know. I got 300 at my house, and that's not even the fastest.
Oh,
now.
buy the 300. I didn't
no,
tell you.
you-
I said
you-
buy the best.
He's giving you
No, you
permission.
did not tell me to
He's
buy the
giving
best.
you
Well, when was it?
I
Years
said
ago?
I want the 3. Yeah,
we
it
were
was here
poor?
when we first started here.
Well, first started. That
Yes.
was different. We were poor
I
then.
wanted the big dog internet.
Get the 300.
then
Couldn't
you're-
afford to
and
pay
I was
me
like,
then.
the $300's $80 a month. The other's $40. You're like, go for the 40.
Oh, we only paid $250 a month or something. I don't even know what we paid.
Well, that's because I put all the videos I order, the softcore, I put it on this account.
There's bills to show up. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Don't look through the bills. What did I tell you about
Samantha,
Yes.
I am off.
that? Oh, no. I thought he was going to confess something to
It
you.
seems
No,
like
no.
it's getting real serious.
Samantha
No,
got
no.
a tongue ring, dude. You know that?
Did you know that? Turned 35, had a freak out, got a tongue ring.
She got a tongue ring.
But why-
Vibrating tongue ring.
If you did get a tongue ring, why would Butler
Because
look
he's
at
a
her-
chopper,
Yeah,
Tom.
you can't stop him.
Did you
That's
write-
why I cracked up laughing.
Did you write that
I
down?
did
Or
write
we
it
just talk
down.
about that now? Butler. Butler. Today's a weird day.
It is.
Because Sam's happy because, can we talk about that?
Sure.
Sam is extra happy today.
You know
I'm like,
why?
my God, what's happening?
She got her Disney passes back, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
We're open. That's her version of we're
open, baby.
We're open, baby. There you go. Just for
Thank
you,
you.
Sam. But it is that wasn't a bad Mickey Mouse. That I didn't know I could do a pretty decent Mickey Mouse. I'm getting the hell out of here. But it's funny because Tom and I will talk about like, oh man, I don't think I've ever seen her happy. She got her passes back. She's happy.
Yeah.
Hold on. You guys act like I'm mad every day.
No. You're not mad.
That
You're
I'm-
paranoid every day.
Well, I'm still
Yeah.
paranoid.
Is
by
that
the way.
happy? That's not happy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's certain anger that comes with paranoia, right? Because how can you,
It's more of like a fear. It's not anger.
Who is that man walking across the street in front of our studio, and why is he looking in the windows?
how can you not be mad that they're all coming to get you? I'd be mad.
You know what? You're right. You know what? You're right.
I'd be mad if they're all coming to get me.
Let me clarify. It's
Why
not-
are they coming to get me?
We know you're not mad, but there is like a buzzing paranoia around you at all times. And you don't have that today. It's not here. Your orb, the buzzing paranoia, completely gone. She came in making jokes, cracking on us, busting on Butler.
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
hair looks really great, like you poofed
Thank
it
you.
up. Yeah, I'm just saying, you're having a red letter day because you got your Disney passes back.
And I was chit-chatting with Butler this morning, and he's like, I never noticed you had a tongue ring before. And I just started laughing because it was not a tongue ring. It was, in fact, a Tic Tac.
How did he notice that?
He's
Like,
looking
He's looking in my mouth.
Yeah,
Gross.
he's a sicko. He's
He
looking
is a
in,
sicko.
He looks in Sam's mouth. And
He's a pervert.
And he fingers his ear holes. He does that. He puts his fingers in his ear holes and he fingers his ear holes while he's staring directly into Sam's mouth. He's a freaking. He should be
You
arrested.
guys need to do something about this. I'm getting really uncomfortable.
We
try to do
only
something.
hire sexual predators.
Apparently.
Stop. Who notices a Tic Tac?
Who looks in people's mouths? I've looked in my wife's mouth. I put stuff in there, never looked in it. Never looked in it.
Who noticed that?
Right.
Butler, get in here.
Get it.
You got to get in here and explain yourself, you sicko.
I didn't even notice you colored your hair until Daniel mentioned it. Like, I had no idea.
What, Butler colored his hair?
No, I don't know.
He's jet black.
I don't even
Oh, my
know.
God. You look like Roger Waters.
You do have a little bit of a
You're
gable.
watery. You're a little watery today.
Yeah.
You're a little Roger Waters. Go eat a dog turd.
So how do you notice
Sorry, I
that
turned your mic off.
Samantha has a Tic Tac in her mouth?
Well, I was just sitting there talking to her, and I noticed that she had something. It
How
looked
wide
like-
was my mouth for you to even notice that?
It doesn't take much for
I
him.
haven't opened it that
He
wide
can-
because I'm still sore from my wisdom
he
teeth
can look into
extraction.
any hole quickly. It's his superpower.
It's a curse. I mean, I'm a hyper observant. I notice weird things.
He does notice weird things.
Yeah. Why?
But then he also has to comment on
Yes,
it. Like,
yeah,
he can't
that's the
not,
problem.
not
Hey, Dan,
comment.
I didn't help but notice that your right tooth is a little more yellow than your left. What the hell are you looking at?
Rude.
Look at.
But then it spurred the discussion of like, what if at 35 I had a freak out and decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get my tongue pierced.
No, then he went full honesty. No, you skipped over the biggest part. Then he went full honesty to Sam, and he goes, she's like, I wouldn't have a tongue ring. Why do you think I have a tongue ring? And he was like, I was just going to look at it. I was going to run in there and then talk S about it. You're right. I was going to go in there and talk S about it with the boys.
He
with the
did
boys.
absolutely admit that.
And he gave it a little hurrah.
He snitched on himself.
That's self-chopping.
Yes, he self-chopped himself.
I can't help myself.
He needs to get an intervention here.
We tried to do one last week.
And nothing worked.
I missed it.
Just ramped it up.
Yeah, you just liked it. Your dad's ordering a custom butler for his living room. I saw that in the chat room. Your brother's like, excuse me, can we get more of those inflatable butlers for the chat room?
They I feel like admitting to a crime you didn't commit is a little like it's self-chopping, right? Like,
no, it's
like
the-
that.
it's
People
that
do
kid-
that.
It's
right?
that kid
People
making,
like
making a murderer. It's that dum-dum.
Well, I mean, that is also, on the police for doing that. But
We're the police, Tom.
Yeah. But I feel like
So are we saying that Butler is on the our team spectrum?
Oh, man.
Well, I'm not saying that.
What are you
but
saying?
I'm saying that there's some Venn diagram. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of
That-
circles.
That like choppers admit to things they did and didn't do.
They admit to everything.
Yeah. They just like admitting to things, which is a
The
weird
chat
trait.
room loves him. They said, we'll take him. The
All
chat
right,
room
all
wants
right.
to put
They're
you on
adding
the
him
team.
to our team.
You want to be on the team?
Man, I'm either the boss or I'm not.
Okay, Mike B is
Somehow-
the boss. I made Mike B the boss.
did you?
I
Okay.
made him the boss of the land
I
cruise.
thought it was Remy.
No,
Yeah,
Remy is a general.
He's the emperor.
Remy is a general. I talked to Remy. I'm doing Remy's podcast this afternoon. Remy's Round Table. Shout out to that show.
Let's talk about this for a second.
You can talk about anything you want. Your show.
Yeah. Because this is a weird thing, and
I don't want to hurt. I have been rescheduling an appearance on Remy's show for the entire pandemic.
But you've done it.
13 months.
It's the most podcast. Like it's the most.
It's the only podcast I've been on 3 times. That's a true story.
Yeah,
You've done Remy's show more than my show.
True story.
Yeah,
I've done Remy's show more than Scotch and Good Conversation. I've done Remy's show more than BYOCB. No
Literally
longer a podcast.
any other podcast except for this one.
And
Yep.
I feel like you. Every other month, you tell me like, "Hey, 3 p.m."
No,
we're
yeah.
doing
No, but then I don't do it.
again.
No, but then I don't do it.
I know you miss
bail.
you bail.
I bail and I make up lies.
Yeah, but it's odd that you
Yeah.
agree to do it.
Yeah, it is.
and you've
Right,
agreed to do
right.
it so many times.
And I lie to him.
Yeah.
And I don't like lying. I'm not a liar, but
because
like,
he'd believe you if you just said like, "Hey, I can't do this."
I
you know.
fell into that finally. I just
You know,
said, I
you did
can't
it
do
3
this anymore.
But you're doing it today.
But you're doing it again today.
Well, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to lie
Okay.
or whether I'm going to say, I can't do this today.
You got to self-chop, bro.
I don't know.
They're funny. I've been on
I
them. They're,
wanna do
they're
it.
super funny interviews, and then I want to use them for the show, but somehow like we never use them.
Well, let's do it. And you know what I'll do? I'll record this one because normally I don't record it on my end. It's just kind of,
It's his show.
I think
Yeah,
none of
it's
them
his
have
show.
even come out. By the way,
no, he's on Spotify.
Well, no one's like I never have I ever gotten an email or anybody. We
He
promoted it.
He sends me the links and he's like, hey, new show it.
But like no BDMs have been like, hey, listen to that because they're legitimately funny because
They are
we're-
funny.
We are the only ones that listen to his show.
You know what? He cares more
But they're not-
for podcasting than a lot of podcasters I know.
That's true. He is dedicated.
He's dedicated,
Yeah.
man. And I feel bad that that's why I'm doing it. I felt really bad that I've lied and bailed and I mean like little white lies. Like, you know, I had something to do, but I made it a little larger than it should have been. You know, like I'm going to dinner with Andrea's dad and I'm just like, oh, got family in town. Not really true Could have done both. You know what I mean?
And let me preface by saying it's funny because of what happens when we're on there. I have no idea. And then we listen to Remy's regular show, and it's funny for a different reason. You'll see.
Well, here, for instance, I'll just give you not to talk about other people's podcasts, but why I might find his podcast entertaining. He shows up at Universal Studios to do a live broadcast with his co-host Chris, and Chris's ticket doesn't work that day, so they can't do it. See, that's genius. It's genius.
Yeah.
It's exactly like what we would do.
He self-chopped.
But it's exactly like what we would do, right? It's very, very much our style. Things falling apart and getting messed up.
Yeah. The falling apart is funny.
Had Tony T. Roberts' phone call been a little more choppier, Remy's Roundtable.
Oh, that's
no difference. No difference.
Back to that. Samantha, you mentioned it's odd that some people in the entertainment industry haven't after a year of the pandemic adopted a microphone set up with some sort of easy way to do.
Well, he doesn't do a
Zoom. But I'm saying I would imagine you do a lot of interviews
or be guests on podcasts or whatever.
Or guests on podcasts.
And then you got your top tier guys that don't even care about it, but they still have setups. To your point, Dave Chappelle has this little mobile setup, and he was on the Tonight Show, I guess, last night, and they just plop this mic, a Shure SM7B, expensive ass mic, with his logo on it and plug it in, and he can go live from anywhere with a light and everything. He's got a rig.
Well, Dave Chappelle's got $100 million.
Yes.
And
a guy that's just his podcast guy.
But I don't have. I have 1,000 Dogecoin.
Do you really?
Look at him saying it correctly.
Dude, you got to hold up. That's because it got serious.
And it's worth nothing now because
because Elon screwed you on SNL.
No, this is all going to come back.
All I'm saying,
we're not accepting Bitcoin. It'll be fine.
I'm poor white trash, and I could afford a nice mic, laptop, and a rig and a camera. All would probably
cost.
You
were pointing at Travis.
No, but
a man.
Dan,
nice butler.
Tell me how much that would cost.
Oh, if you want the good get, for $1,000, I could get you top tier.
Yeah, and then you could probably borrow some stuff and
as we're talking about this, I am thinking you do this for a living and you don't have this set up.
Yeah, Butler said that yesterday.
I mean, I did because I had to quarantine when my husband got COVID, and I was able to podcast with you guys from home, but you as the host don't even
Butler
have that
said
setup.
that the other day when Tom
I took the setup home and then I put it in my garage.
Currently,
but I never knew.
No, it's not. The French Witch has an excellent podcast that you can check out on Spotify.
What's it called?
It's called The Witch is Back.
But here's the thing. If I did have to do any Zoom calling or anything, which, by the way, we've done all through the studio because we never had to do it from home.
Yeah.
But if I did have to, I would get the setup and I would just pay someone that knew how to do it to come over and hook it up, and then I would have
great.
that.
I don't think
me and Butler are going to be showing up at Tom's house later today.
I don't think the Zoom setup.
Benjamin, I'll do this.
You can do them well. You can do them well, and you can limp through. I really believe you can, but I don't think it's good. I even see it on bigger shows. You can see I can see them having to go in and edit, and it looks a little wonky.
We talk to our listeners who do bits for us that have great audio and great video. The other day when we were talking to, there's been a plethora of people that are not celebrities and not entertainers. Really, they have their own. They're amateur podcasters.
Brendan
O'Connor,
his setup's legit.
It's a professional mic.
Broadcasting though.
Even Busdecker plugs in his headphones. Even when he goes outside, he'll use a set of headphones. So he'll keep the that weird interference and it wanting to noise cancel. He'll use that. Well, but he's a pro too. I'm naming all pros. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
No, but it's not really because Busdecker is a storyteller for Orange County.
But
Popo.
Yeah, he does videos that have audio, and he has to make it sound and look good.
Yes,
he's a professional.
He's a Popo audio.
That's true. Yes,
he's Popo.
That's true. But why aren't top tier entertainers have the same?
I don't know.
I was
setup. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
It's Buster could do it.
Worst person, best setup. Jeff Howell.
Yeah, Jeff Howe.
I'm joking. Jeff's a wonderful man. Hey, his
But
music's on Spotify now. You can go check it out. I think Burned Out Cadillac just appeared today.
Are you serious?
And you can buy it and stuff.
But
Yeah.
Jeff Howe's an old man that has still has an AOL email address.
Yeah, he does.
But he also has a good setup.
He does, yeah.
I helped
he's
him
also
with his setup.
he's also a tech guy and he's an engineer, so he knows about that kind of stuff.
It's not
but
that
still,
hard.
you could still. There's a lot. It's not like a mystery that no one can do. There's for sure. There's tons of people in every single community that you could pay that knows how to do this. That for $100 would set you up, and then teach you how to do it. And then you're like, all right, now I can do professional.
It makes me think they just don't care, right?
That's weird though, right? How could they not? It's their
business. I don't know.
But every
Is
time,
it just
Samantha,
lazy?
Have we ever
every time I
added
say
up-
that, and there's nothing against Tony. There's nothing to do with that.
No. This he could be one of a million. Have we ever added up the number of times he yells? How do they do that? Or why do they?
I know.
Tell me why.
No, it's just kind of scary because like
I can't accept.
We don't know, Tom.
I can't accept the answer of there's just no reason, or there's just laziness, or like they just
you know
don't
how
care.
many things
I'm
that
like,
I could ask about you of why does he do this?
I know.
So
yeah, but you could say what he will. Normally, okay.
I was gonna see how long you were gonna go.
No, but okay. So